feel like my old self again. I would recommend Advanced Rehab and Medical and their BioT program to anyone suffering with symptoms like mine. It's been life-changing.
To book your appointment, call 731-462-8580. That's 731-462-8580.
We found Jackson's perfect lunch spot, Bourbon and Barley's. You can enjoy a delicious sit-down lunch at drive-through prices. Bourbon and Barley's lunch menu is available weekdays 11 a.m. all the way to 4 p.m. Have a late lunch or an early dinner at lunch prices. Bourbon and Barley's amazing lunch menu options include delicious crab and lobster bruschetta, Cobb salads, one-topping pizzas, and their featured slider of the day. All for just $10. Across the street from Starbucks, Bourbon and Barley's, where Jackson loves to lunch.
Looking to add a little spice to your love life?
Nothing adds spice like gunpowder.
Jackson's only indoor shooting range. Date night at the range. Here's what you lovebirds get. A shooting lane for two targets, 100 rounds of ammo, eye and ear protection, and a $30 gift certificate to Texas Roadhouse. All for just $99.99.
Now that's firepower.
Perfect for a gift card from the range. The Range, 2310 North Highland Avenue in Jackson.
Go to therange.com.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah? This is WBFG. BFG 96.5 FM. 96.5 FM. Parker's Crossroads, Jackson.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. There will be no second term for Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot. As crime soars and her approval ratings plummet, voters are sending Lightfoot packing. Two of her Democrat challengers, Paul Vallis and Brandon Johnson, will face each other in an April runoff. Well, this winter has seen several powerful coast-to-coast storms, and here comes one more.
California continues to be battered by fierce weather with fresh snow falling in the mountains and even cold temperatures on the San Francisco Bay and elsewhere. But National Weather Service meteorologist David Roth says another storm is expected to target all 48 lower states, and the precipitation you get depends on where you live in relation to a warm front.
If you're near and just north of the warm front, you'd be talking about heavy rainfall. If you're far enough to the north of the warm front and the cold air, you'd be talking about freezing rain and snow.
I'm Donna Warder.
3 Kansas City, Missouri police officers in the hospital this morning after being shot while serving a warrant last night. They're described as alert, awake, and talking. Their injuries not considered life-threatening. Conservative Supreme Court justices appeared skeptical of President Biden's plan to wipe away or reduce millions of student loans.
At the High Court, Justice Neil Gorsuch asked about the fairness of the president's plan and those not receiving debt forgiveness.
People who've paid their loans, people who don't plan their lives around not seeking loans, and people who are not eligible for loans.
The Biden administration defended the legal authority in canceling student loans, but Chief Justice John Roberts suggested that the administration had exceeded its authority. Greg Clugston, the White House.
Stocks have been drifting between gains and losses this first day of the month. Right now, the Dow is up 26 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Never would have hitchhiked to Birmingham if it hadn't been for love. Never would have called the train to Louisiana if it hadn't been for love. Never would have run through the blinding rain without $1 to my name if it hadn't been for love. Never would have seen the trouble that I'm in if it hadn't been for love. Would have been gone like a wayward wind if it hadn't been for love. Nobody knows it better than me. I wouldn't be wishing I was free if it hadn't been for love. Four cold walls against my will. At least I know she's alive and still. Never would have took a mind to track her down if it hadn't been for love. Never would have loaded up a 44, put myself behind a jailhouse door if it hadn't been for love. Four cold walls against my will. At least I know she's lying still. Four cold walls without parole. Lord have mercy on my soul.
Welcome in to a great, at least warm Wednesday. We're expected to get all the way up to almost 80 degrees, around 78, 79 today. A little bit of clouds. We got some thunderstorms coming. I think the worst of it's going to be here tomorrow night, but should be a nice weekend. What'd you think, Tony? Did you like this song?
I like it. I mean, I'm getting into Billy Strings. It kind of reminds me of that genre a little bit, but
Yeah.
this is more. I just like his voice. I guess it's hard to explain.
This is it's Chris Stapleton is who this is, when he was with the Steel Drivers, and I think that's his wife singing with him. But
okay,
you know, the thing about the song that makes it so good is, you know, if it hadn't been for love, we'd have never done lots of things. Isn't that the truth?
That's how the world repopulates.
Tony, my Catholic consigliere, is hanging back in with us today. You guys say some special thoughts and prayers for Julie out there. She's had a loss in her family, and we certainly hate to hear that, but she is getting all of that stuff handled. But we love Julie and miss her. But Tony Niehoff has stepped in, and we appreciate having him, because I think by now, Bob, you know that I can't do this by myself.
I'm starting to see that. Yeah, our thoughts I saw on Facebook and wrote a little note there I saw about Julie's loss. And yeah, and you're right. They got to have somebody there sitting next to you. If you're like me, I can't push buttons. Little Nashville, Tennessee bluegrass, the Steel Drivers.
Yes,
sir.
They are so good. I just discovered that song like last night. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna tell you where I discovered it. It was TikTok. I'm very ashamed, but TikTok, Bob Ney, Tom Scuteri, and TikTok is where I've gone for all of my news now. And so
there you go. Now, I think I thought they were still together. Now, Tammy Rogers was the fiddler. I don't know if she did some singing with him too or not.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but Chris Stapleton, you know, I don't know if he married her or not.
And I said he did only because I know that he performs with his wife sometimes. That may be a completely different female vocalist on there, but yeah, Chris has got one of those voices. And
he's from Kentucky, and then he moved to Tennessee.
And it's such a unbelievable songwriter, long before anybody really knew who he was. But he's got one of those voices now. Like if you hear, you're like, oh yeah, that's Chris Stapleton.
Yeah, didn't he?
Yeah, you know. He has also co-written with Ed Sheeran.
Really?
And Sheryl Crow. Yeah.
Well, I could see the Sheryl Crow thing.
And way back to Frampton, so he's got a lot of genre to him. You know.
Oh yeah, and that, and they always say, Bob, if you're going to do anything in the music business. Now, if you want to be famous, I'm sure being the front man of a band or something like that's the way to go. But if you want to make money, they say be a songwriter.
There you go.
Sheryl Crow's an excellent person to go see in concert. She's just I think I've seen her 4 times.
I'm going to see, I have seen, by the way, I think if I'm correct, 5 times for short, 6 the Rolling Stones.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, and had an opportunity to go backstage in D.C. when Sprint hosted the tour. And but I'm one of those, back in 1986, I gathered all my friends together. I said, listen, one of them's going to die. We got to go to the concert.
Right.
The second concert. One of them's going to die before the next.
In 86.
What's your favorite Rolling Stone song?
Gimme Shelter.
Yeah, that's a great one. That's a great one. I like a million Rolling Stone songs.
There's so many to have.
Yeah, Beast of Burden is one of my favorites.
Right.
And if you ever want to laugh, type in Jimmy Kimmel and Billy Joel doing Beast of Burden on his show. Like Billy Joel's like playing the piano, and then Jimmy Fallon, he's
talented.
He's good in these roles, like his music roles, things that he does. He's actually really good and really funny in. But I was like, gosh, they really did a great. I say great cover. It was a fun and silly cover, but they do it justice.
Yep,
they do it justice.
You mentioned TikTok. That's that's kind of, I don't know. Julie's kind of a master TikTok. I don't know if it's going to be around. They're trying to get rid of it. So,
what do we think about that? And should we? I mean, do we know? Because we got a lot of stuff to get in today that touches China, obviously, from COVID. You know, everybody, or not everybody, but more and more people saying what we all know now, that it came from a lab in China. I think that, you know, if you're not saying that now, you're probably being disingenuous, or at least allowing for that possibility. Maybe the best thing. But are we sure that what they're doing on TikTok is dangerous for us here in America?
Well, that's what we're told. You know, Michael McCall is the head Republican on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, and then Gregory Meeks, who I served with, is coming. He's the Democrat on the committee, top Democrat. He's coming out against it, saying it would damage our allegiances across the globe and bring more companies into China's sphere, which is kind of true, and then undercut American values of free speech and free enterprise. The thing I would worry about with this, I guess, if I was still out there, is who decides what and how many more, and, you know, there's a lot of things I don't like, but when you start getting into speech police, unless somebody's threatening to kill somebody, I think there's a problem. I mean, you can't even tell a joke today, you know, and if it's put on YouTube, you're out of business. So
absolutely, yeah. Cancel culture and things like that have gotten crazy, and you know, we're dealing with that a little bit here in Tennessee. I don't know how familiar you are with this story. But
the drag bill?
Yeah, and it's got a lot of ties to Jackson, Tennessee, where this
really.
Yes, and let me explain it to you real quick because I'm curious.
Are you saying drag started in Jackson?
Well, no, but,
that's not true.
Okay,
but back a few months ago, the Jackson Pride Board, who has had their Pride Fest, whatever it's called, right? Their Pride Day,
Pride Festival,
Pride Festival, whatever, in at a public park here for the past few years. Okay. And so it was Pride Day, and they'd be at the park and they do everything. This year, to raise more money, they applied and I think got approved. Originally, they got approved to have a drag show here in the park at Conger Park in Jackson, Tennessee. All right. Some local churches and some local Facebook groups that are out there were against this, because this was the whole time, if you remember, like on Fox News and some of these conservative outlets, Bob, that they were, seeing these videos of people in, Texas and California, and one is in Chattanooga, but the one in Chattanooga actually ended up being a female impersonating a female at a drag show, but a kid was touching her dress, and it was one of those dresses that, like, you rub it down one way, it's one color, and rub it up the other way, it's another color, and so people started freaking out about it around here. They're like, look, we don't need this in the park, and then the other side was saying, well, look, we have our rights here, right? We pay, and so there was this whole big thing, and tons of people got on board on both sides, and there was threats of the Proud Boys coming and shutting it down, because they shut this thing down in Memphis too. So it became a very big deal, and anyway, the drag show ended up moving to the Civic Center and was 18 and up. Well, when that happened, our representative here from Jackson, a gentleman named Chris Todd, brought into legislation that started this whole thing. He's our Jackson representative from this area and maybe some other counties, but Madison County is a big area that he covers. He brought it to the state legislation saying, look, we need to make sure that any drag show is 18 and up. Well, and then that kind of turned into, well, exactly what is a drag show? What is, prurient nature? What is obscene, essentially? Because we already have laws against obscenity. And so the question became, well, what if someone wore drag to Walmart? Is that obscene? Is that illegal? Or what if, we want to protest outside of a government building? Is that, and so all
it's
these
funny
questions.
You say Walmart, because Walmart has some interesting
people all the time. Yes.
Oh yeah, that's in Newark, Ohio. The only people I've ever seen walking around in drag were in Walmart.
Well, you still need shaving cream and deodorant and things like that. You gotta go.
Pajamas are acceptable at Walmart.
Exactly. I'm much more offended by some of that stuff that I see, but the Hello Kitty pajama pants are for another day. But and then, as things often do, Bob, and this is why I would never get into politics, because someone's got a photo somewhere. But Bill Lee, our governor, who
I saw that.
I've interviewed multiple times. I
Boy,
really
did he
enjoy,
sidestep that thing and keep walking.
I really enjoy Bill Lee, but when that photo came out, and you know what it was, he was in high school, and I'm sure it was one of those powder puff days where like the cheerleaders played football and the football players dressed up like cheer.
Oh yeah.
But it doesn't matter. I mean, this is the thing, and this is why I'd be so scared to get in politics, because I don't remember half the pictures that were taken of me in my 20s, so I couldn't imagine what the world.
And this is before cell phone.
Yeah,
cameras.
this was in a yearbook.
Imagine just fast forward 20 years, what's going to be like.
I don't know, but it's anyway.
People storing things for later. Who knows? I hope not. That'd be sad.
That's our ties to Tennessee, but it actually originated right here in Jackson. And I was reading on Drudge Report the other day that the UK, a newspaper in the UK, the Metro, did an article on it and referenced Jackson, Tennessee. But that's the origination.
Well, I do multiple state radio, so I did Pennsylvania last week. I was on Friday, I guess it was, and the guy whose show I do he started out, and Rick said, "Now, have you ever gone in drag?" And I went, "No," and he said, "I have in high school." He was a football player,
right?
And that's how we started the whole conversation. And then and I told him that I do, radio in Tennessee, but. The problem with the thing, by the way, and I use this example, there's a guy, we call him Cookie Boy in Columbus, Ohio, and he dresses up in drag and makes cookies, and he goes out but this ties into the bill if he was in Tennessee, he goes out in drag and sets up a table at different events and sells cookies. First of all, his cookies are $5 each, and he makes about $130,000 a year.
Oh, my
gosh. Good for him.
I know.
Must be a good
Makes
baker.
you think about drag and cookies, I know. But he makes $130,000, but he technically probably, I assume, would be illegal to sell cookies. I would imagine in Tennessee, right?
Well, and see, and this is where the questions.
Or is
come
that
in.
not a drag show?
They're saying any type of cabaret theater is how it's listed right now.
Oh, okay.
Is any type of cabaret, and I can get down with that. I really can, because I'm like, you know what? We had the same thing, strip clubs and stuff like that. But what about performances where no clothes come off, which is what this one was titled at, as Jackson was a family-friendly performance. Now, and none of the performers, took clothes off or anything like that. From everything I was told, I actually interviewed the president of Jackson Pride, just a phone interview when this first happened, and it become, I could see the groundswell coming up in Jackson and the two sides coming apart, and it always breaks my heart. It's one thing for us to talk about people in California or in Washington, D.C. I've never been to Washington, D.C. I don't even know if it's a real place. But if you could be at the grocery store with somebody that you're, at odds with like this, that breaks my heart for communities and, small town USA and things like that. My question is, or my statement was yesterday in the past couple of days on the show is, if we're doing this to protect children and we're going to co-parent our kids with the state of Tennessee, and at this point, maybe we shouldn't we look at things like childhood obesity, what we're feeding our kids? I mean, and I asked the question, should I text the caloric intake of my children to my representatives just to make sure? Because that probably has a much bigger impact on my children's lives. They've never been to a drag show ever. There's no plans of them ever going to a drag show. I mean, but that's a choice I've been able to make. But if people aren't able to make these choices, shouldn't we really jump in with the children where it matters? I've read that most abuse happens in the home. Should we put cameras in all of our homes so the government can randomly monitor just for the safety of the kids?
Well, and if you have a festival, for example, which we all have, and they sell beer at that festival, should beer be sold? Should alcohol be sold in the presence of children? I mean, you could take this all over the place.
Absolutely. When we know that one of the biggest destroyers of a two-parent home is alcohol and alcoholism and things like that. So I think without a doubt, when we pass this, alcohol and cigarettes are 100% done. We're done with that immediately. We get all that off the shelves. Wine, liquors, all that stuff, the little crack pipes that they sell at the gas stations. Let's get rid of all that. That should be a done deal. And that's my problem with giving up freedom. I say all that.
Well, and there's got to be common sense. And where does it stop? That's like I was, telling a friend of mine, we were having a debate. And you talk about woke culture. He had a friend, and if you don't call him they, he yells at you. Well, I don't know even grammatically how this day ever came up anyway, to be honest with you.
Right.
Grammatically. It's a person that's non-binary.
Right.
Doesn't consider themselves he or she, yet say they. And I understand. They want to do that. That's fine. I just don't know how I'm made to, if I don't adjust my grammar, somebody sues me. Just going to get to that. So I think it's kind of common sense and that's like related back to this TikTok. How far does this go? Does somebody get in the White House one day and use the bill to ban, they're mad at Mark Zuckerberg, I don't know, they ban Facebook. I don't know.
Yeah.
All of this has some kind of watchful eye to it, because here's what I am afraid of. I really am, that this gets to the point where, and this is off of the cross-dressing thing, but this gets to the point where when you say something and it's deemed offensive, you can be arrested for it.
Right.
And, look, I don't like people that say horrible things to other people, but if somebody calls somebody a slur, and you can be arrested at some point in time, then what other speech can you be arrested for? I mean, It's a dangerous slope.
We don't need that. That's not what this country was founded on.
And Bob, and that was my point the other day, and I got a little back blow off of it or whatever, and that's okay, because I don't mind it. But for me, it's not for me. I'm never going to take my kids to do that. But if I just talk about the importance of freedoms and parental rights and things like that with the things that I agree with, and I never ever try to defend a side that I don't agree with, I'm being a little insincere in my approach. In my mind, I'm being insincere. It's the same thing with TikTok. You know what? I don't let my kids have TikTok, and I'm kind of a hypocrite. I have it, and I'm saying my young kids. I got a 20-year-old, and Lord knows what he does. But you know what you get my point with that, Bob. But if we put the information out there about, hey, look, this is what's going on out there. This is what we think. This is what's going on out there. Parent your kids accordingly. But we already have obscenity laws. If anything's obscene, it's already illegal in the state of Tennessee. I just don't know where this could end up, because I do know this about government and extremism. And I'm a big believer, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this, Bob, that we have a whole woke agenda on the left, and that's really, really scary, because like you said, now you're nervous you got to go back to English class to figure out how to refer to somebody. Well, I contend that we're also getting woke on the right, which is where I find myself on most issues, but we're getting woke over there, and that's really dangerous too, the same way.
Oh, it is. I was telling a friend of mine, she's a real big liberal, and I was telling her, I said, but she's okay. She's not woke. And she's starting to say, wow, this is bad. But I told her it's just as extreme on the right, where you got people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and then on the left you've got Ilhan Omar, saying political things. But then you've got extremes on the right and the left, the woke and then the extremism. And I think they're bad. But also it's lack of common sense or age appropriate. My great nephews are Mexican. Their father is Johnny Contreras, and his family's from Guadalupe, Mexico. And so my niece went down to the school and wanted to talk to the teacher, and they had this thing where, now by the way, they're in 3rd and 4th grade, okay?
All right.
And they had this thing where they were talking about Pedro and ethnic slurs with his name. These are the only 2 Mexican kids in Wheeling, West Virginia, in the elementary system,
Right.
So my niece went down and said, oh, I understand you taught this, and the teacher smiled and said, yes. And my niece said, you ever do it again, and you put my kids in that classroom, I'm going to sue you. And the teacher was in shock. She said, I teach my kids, people are people, and I don't want you singling out my 2 children at that age in class because they're Mexican. She said, that's what you're doing. The teacher's like, well, I was trying to help. She said, no, you're not helping. You're singling them out.
Yeah.
And they're too young to, sit in the class, and then they think something's wrong with them. And
sure.
So this stuff's not done with common sense, unfortunately. Hey, when kids get older and they have sex education classes and things, but, some of the things they want to teach in 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade is not the prerogative of the school. It's parental.
Right, absolutely. And that's my point, is, because again, I consider myself to be a free thinker and freedom-loving American, and I know my kids aren't going to. It would be the same to me if you pass legislation that you can't go to a family-friendly, or you have to go to a family-friendly drag show. Well, I would be upset with that as well. At some point, we have to put the onus back on the parents. Freedom is, everybody assumes that freedom means you can just do whatever the hell you want. Well, that's not it at all. Freedom's one of the biggest responsibilities that you can have. Same thing with being a parent. That is the biggest responsibility that you can have, but you have to make those decisions yourself. You can't. I just have such a problem.
Now the school system, I will tell you, a lot of teachers, to give them credit, have to act as parents. There are parents out there that are irresponsible. Some are, some aren't.
That's right.
And a lot of the teachers just do an amazing job having to be a quasi-surrogate parent.
Yeah.
But I think some of the schools have been forced into some of this where they're going to have a certain curriculum or, this or that taught. And then it gets dangerous, what's banned, what's not banned.
That's right.
But I'm more sensitive to some of these things for the lower grades, with kids involved. So.
Yeah, I agree completely. I know we got way off of where we were going, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on stuff like this because, again, I think we have to be really careful with how much control we give any government. I don't care if Republicans or Democrats are in power. I think it's still the same problem. We got to be really careful because it's kind of hard to get back. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, people have asked me, and like I said, look, if my granddaughter's a sophomore in high school, and I've said, if some boy in her class believes in his mind that he is more of a girl than a boy, all right, that's between him, his parents, whatever he feels, that's his psyche, right? That's what's in his mind. I don't want him, however, in the bathroom with my granddaughter.
Correct.
That's my point.
Correct.
If he is biologically a male, he can, if he wants to consider himself a female, fine. But I don't want a biological male in the bathroom with my granddaughter and other girls. I mean, I'm speak for my granddaughter only. I don't want it.
That's right.
So there's where there's a balance, I think.
There is, and this issue, it's one that's not going to go away. I think there's all kinds of reasoning for it, that it's not going to go away. Number one, it's just such a hot button issue, and I think that sometimes...
And I don't think we should hate on the kid, and I don't think he should be bullied for this. The school should put its foot down.
Right.
But again, the bathrooms and private areas are a different ballgame when it comes to biological distinctions.
And that's the answer, I think, is to have, okay, if this is something your school's dealing with, okay, you have to go to the bathroom by yourself, right? This bathroom shut down from every other person at this particular time, and until we can add more I don't know what the answer is, but I agree with you. The answer is you can't, because it's the same way with athletes who are identifying as female now. There was a school in, I believe it was Delaware, I want to say, that did not play in a quarterfinal state championship game. It was a girls basketball team versus another girls basketball team because there was a biological male on the other team. And it's a private school. And they said, look, we're not even going to play this. This is ridiculous. We're not even going to play it. So they stepped out of it.
The female movement has dropped the ball. These poor girls who are losing scholarships because some guy says, I think I'm a woman, and knows he can beat them and get a scholarship. Yeah. I mean, that's a whole other... America, we kind of look at, like, wow, we're such a liberal country. People think, well, if I went to Europe years ago and I was in the bathroom and there's the cleaning lady walking through,
yeah.
They never separated a lot in Europe,
Right.
Hey, Chuck, I got
unisex bathrooms.
Quick question for you, Bob. This goes back to 2002. I was an intern up there for Ed Bryant, and I sat in on Jim Traficant, who got kicked out of Congress.
Oh.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, were you in the gallery that night?
I was in the gallery that night, yes, sir.
You probably don't remember where I was sitting, but Speaker Hastert, I was sitting next to the Speaker. I chaired House Administration, as you know. I was sitting next to the Speaker, and the Speaker got up to the podium, and Jim sat next to me the whole time. And it was the most agonizing, whatever that was, hour and a half, 2 hours that I've ever had.
It was 60 minutes he had, I believe.
Yeah, and he said, Bob, help me. Ask Steny Hoyer, and I left the seat, and I went over to Steny Hoyer, who was the, ranking Democrat at the time. I said, Jim wants some more time, Steny. I'm just delivering the message. It was agonizing. You want one quick story on that whole thing?
Sure.
This is fascinating. It deals with guns in the chamber now.
Okay.
I was in charge of Capitol Hill Police, so the speaker had an attorney, Ted Vandermeed, and Ted came to me, called me over to the speaker's office, Hastert's office, and he said, Jim Traficant's coming tonight, and I was good friends with Jim. We shared part of a county, Columbiana, East Palestine he had, I had below. And so he said, oh, by the way, Ed Bryant's, what a good guy. I started Congress with Ed. So anyway, Ted Vandermeed called me into this hush-hush private meeting. He said, you know, members are never screened. If a member goes to see the President of the United States, they open the gate and let him in, or her in.
That's right.
They don't check them. It's a courtesy. So having members go through the magnetometers is beyond my imagination, you know, to see that. But anyway, Ted says, we're afraid he's going to bring a gun in and shoot in the chamber.
Oh, my
Jim,
Lord.
He used to be a sheriff, and they felt he was mentally unstable. They said, we're afraid, what are we going to do? Well, the rule says you don't check them. So they don't know what to do, and they're trying to plan this and that, and I said, I'll take care of it. So I went down before Jim came through the member's door, and I said, Jim, how are you? And he said, oh, you know, I said, Jim, I got to ask you something. Do you have a gun? Do you intend to shoot people? And he's like, what the heck is wrong with you? I'm just asking you, do you have a gun? And he said no, and that's how we solved the Jim Traficant gun problem.
Potential gun problem.
Well, my question off that, the reason I ask you that is it seems to me in the last 20 years, especially with maybe Representative Omar of Minnesota, and then we have this gentleman in New York who's fraudulently lied about all these things. So what Jim did was some sort of, I can't remember. It was like, I think it was, he accepted money or something. I don't remember.
He had a boat. They fixed up his boat.
Okay. So wouldn't you say that some of these current members have done just as bad of things, allegedly, as Jim did? And do you see
a lot
this
worse than.
Right. Do you see the Congress do anything about it? I mean, he just got booted.
Well, what happened to Jim was the ethics committee wouldn't take it up. As my charge, the ethics committee wouldn't take it up. Once they don't take it up and you're hanging out there, it gets to the point where Justice may come and take it up. Jim Traficant beat Justice as his own attorney years ago to beat them on all counts. And then he got elected. And after that, I mean, they were going to get him one way or the other because he beat them in court on like 65 counts or something.
Oh. So
that was his history.
Do you actually, your opinion, I mean, you follow this closer than Chuck and I, is there, now that Republicans are in charge of the House, we're going to see a lot more, I guess, investigations, I would say, at least from their part, you know, less sweeping under the rug, I would think. So
well, they're going to have more investigations, and, you know, with Traficant, I mean, in my case, too, I did wrong, and, you know, Jim did wrong, but when you look at Charlie Rangel of New York, you knew who Rangel was. Since you worked there, you know all these people.
Right.
Rangel never put forth $1 million in taxes. And, you know, he got a finger slap, you know, on the hand. And then Traficant had a dealing with a boat. I don't know what the heck it was, but it sure didn't amount to that money, and he was expelled.
Yeah.
So
the corruption
of course, he was
is just
convicted.
not going to be prosecuted like it used to be, it sounds like.
Right.
Well,
I think
you got to have enough people still there to, you know, pass legislation and whatnot. You can't, you know, get rid of all of them, right? Nobody be left.
Right.
Not that bad, but
I also said if you start throwing out members for lying, it'll be an empty chamber. You ever go visit there, Chuck?
But see, exactly. Bob, I know we didn't get a ton of stuff, but I had some interesting conversation for you, and wanted to kind of give you the Jackson history on what's going on, and you know, you said you talked to your guy in Pennsylvania about that, the radio program there. Wanted to give you a little bit of that information.
Thank you.
It started. Yeah, we're what do they call it in the biz? Patient zero.
There you go.
Yeah, right here in Jackson. Bob, we look so much forward to talking to you again on Friday, my friend. Hey, listen, I got a song for you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, thanks, Chuck.
There we go.
Absolutely, Bob. Have a wonderful Wednesday.
Okay.
Have a great day.
All right, you too.
That's Bob Ney, former U.S. Congressman, friend of the show, and honestly, one of the most interesting people that we talk to, just because of his life experiences.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean,
and he doesn't run from getting in trouble. He doesn't say, well, let's not talk. No, he embraces it.
that
he wrote
man
a book
has
about it.
tons of stories in Washington. I mean, Washington is. I was up there for about 31 days, and it was the most interesting 31 days of my life, I think.
It's one of those things where, and I've been saying it's one of those things too much because everything's a thing. It's something that he can, you hear how this is how the sausage is made. He actually knows how the sausage is made.
Yeah.
He tells us a lot of times.
And
how
he
it's done.
has no reason to hold back because
At
a
all
lot
now.
of
They
what
let
these
him
guys
down.
know, they're not going to talk about that.
Yeah. Well, Bob will. And we still have Bob's notes. We're going to get in a lot of stuff. One of the things being Joe Biden's move to forgive $430 billion in student debt is getting held up in the Supreme Court, and now could potentially be calling into question executive power.
Yeah, I think that's a bit overreach. I mean,
of course,
how many people do you and I know that worked hard and paid our debt off? I'm one of them. I mean, I did the baby step plan Dave Ramsey does, and
I've got a
paid it
son in
off.
college right now, and I mean, he's lucky enough to not have any loans, but I mean, we're waiving them. I mean, take them, right? No,
I mean,
that's
we
not what
go
we
down
wanna
that
do.
road. I mean, what's next,
Right. It's tough. This comes in. Advanced Rehab text line 731-800-8398. 731-800-8398. Says Tennessee already has obscenity laws. Bill Lee and Republicans are a joke. That isn't very funny. Smaller government. Hypocrisy. This comes in. Says Governor Lee does look good in a dress. Hashtag no homo. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Don't try to trick me up with words. And here's a picture of Governor Lee in a dress. He's a tall fella. And that's not a dress. That's like a skirt, right? Like a cheerleading skirt. It's not a dress.
Yep.
Is that a wig, though, or is that his hair? Because if
That's-
that's his hair, that's pretty awesome.
That's definitely a wig.
That's a wig. It's back in the 70s,
I don't think I would
Had big
wear
hair.
that.
Well, people used to do that. I think when I was like in 5th grade, I was in a Womanless Beauty Review or something like that. It was like a fundraiser for the school.
Yeah.
Or something. But we're talking about.
I mean,
how
Halloween,
slippery does the slope get? What about
people
these?
wear stuff all the time.
They
so,
do.
Yeah.
What about because this is anything that could be, moved obscene. I know every high school boy in the world is out there thinking, dear God, don't take away high school volleyball. Right?
Right.
Obscene's it's one of those words where it kind of depends on what your definition is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know men who won't wear shorts. Period. They will not wear shorts. They're like, nah, it's just, their wives, long dresses and stuff like that. It's cool. I wear shorts. The sun's out and it's above 60. I have on a pair of shorts.
Yeah.
This comes in. Advanced Rehab text line 731-800-8398. Says, what's a bigger overreach of executive power? Executing the destruction of the Nord Stream pipeline as an act of war against Russia without congressional approval? Or alleviating 20% of the student debt? You're listening to Walker Talks. We will be right back.
Hi, I'm Terica Smith, a local attorney and proud JMCSS graduate, but I'm also a JMCSS parent. We chose Jackson Madison County Schools for educational options that are innovative and challenging. Whether it's the Academic Academy at Northeast or early college and career opportunities at JCM Early College High, JMCSS offers classes and programs that will prepare my son for college and beyond. Plus, JMCSS is a Level 5 district and tuition free. It just makes sense.
Hi, I'm Greg Hammond, Chief of Public Information for the Jackson-Madison County School System. With an increased focus in the fine arts, athletics, workforce development, and early career opportunities for students, there's never been a better time to choose us. Tuition-free, Jackson-Madison County Schools. Visit jmcss.org today to schedule a tour or call 731-345-7011.
What do you think he'll get you this year? Candy? Flowers? No, I was thinking something more sparkly.
Wow, congratulations. How many carats do you think he'll spring for?
Girl, forget the ring. I want some of that shiny 45 Auto Mart bling.
At 45 Auto Mart, get a jewelry box full of $1,000 savings just by walking in and saying,
"Show me the bling."
We've had an 18-year clean Carfax successful marriage to our customers, and to keep the romance alive, we're taking $1,000 off so our relationship thrives. Say,
"Show me the bling,"
and carry this loaded leather sunroof Honda CRV over the threshold for $11,900, or pick up this 60,000-mile 2020 Chevy Colorado for just $21,900. Don't fall for Mr. Megadigger with a sappy sales spiel and false love sting when every drive-in your Forever 45 ride will give you the feels like a sweet romance with $1,000 off because you said,
"Show me the bling."
So call 989-8059 or come to 45 Auto Mart today. Wear your $1,000 off the perfect for you ride with that love's in bloom at first sight feeling that'll make you swoon and leave you reeling. Dealer!
We found Jackson's perfect lunch spot, Bourbon and Barley's. You can enjoy a delicious sit-down lunch at drive-thru prices. Bourbon and Barley's lunch menu is available weekdays 11 a.m. all the way to 4 p.m. Have a late lunch or an early dinner at lunch prices. Bourbon and Barley's amazing lunch menu options include delicious crab and lobster bruschetta, Cobb salads, one-topping pizzas, and their featured slider of the day, all for just $10. Across the street from Starbucks, Bourbon and Barley's, where Jackson loves to lunch.
Is your office or home office in need of a new printer, copier, fax, or multifunction machine? Do you need business cards, envelopes, or office supplies? Are you looking to upgrade to new office furniture? Office World Incorporated in Trenton has been serving all of the Gibson County and the West Tennessee area for over 65 years. Office World is a franchise partner of OfficeZilla. Call today, 731-855-9131, or email officeworldinc@gmail.com.
Hi, my name's Dawn. I have been taking BioT at Advanced Medical. My moods are better. I sleep well. My husband has complimented me on the mood swings that are no longer affecting our marriage.
Are these problems affecting your work, your relationships, and your quality of life? You'll be happy to know there's an exciting, natural solution available called BioT. BioT uses a natural way for men and women to correct these problems by safely and accurately balancing hormone levels without the use of synthetic injections or cream.
I got blood work done, and they identified what hormones were out of balance. They gave me the bioidentical hormone pellets through BioT, and now I have more energy, no more brain fog, I'm sleeping better, and I feel like my old self again. I would recommend Advanced Rehab and Medical and their BioT program to anyone suffering with symptoms like mine. It's been life-changing.
To book your appointment, call 731-462-8580. That's 731-462-8580.
Looking to add a little spice to your love life?
Nothing adds spice like gunpowder.
Jackson's only indoor shooting range, date night at the range. Here's what you lovebirds get: a shooting lane for two targets, 100 rounds of ammo, eye and ear protection, and a $30 gift certificate to Texas Roadhouse. All for just $99.99.
Now that's firepower.
Perfect for a gift card from the range. The Range, 2310 North Highland Avenue in Jackson.
Go to therange.com.
Wake up with Wood. Daybreak with Greg Wood. Weekday morning 6 till 10 on 96.5 FM and Newstalk WTN.com.
Welcome back in to Walker Talks on this Wednesday. We'd love to hear from you. Chuck Walker here, joined by my good buddy Tony Nehall.
What's up, Jackson?
What's up, Jackson? We'd love to hear from you. Our Jackson IV and Wellness Clinic call-in line, 731-265-6496, 731-265-6496. Advanced Rehab text line, 731-800-8398. If you want to text the program, 731-800-8398. Tony and I were having an interesting conversation during the break. We were talking about, you know, the what is sexually obscene, what is obscene, what is the word prurient, which is a really hard word to say. So I don't enjoy the fact that that's the word that we're using now. But that word, what is that? Because I think it's different for everybody. And Tony brought up an interesting point. He said, should this be a community standard? Because obviously things that exist in Davidson County, like Nashville, things that exist there don't exist here.
Right.
Strip clubs being one of the, I mean, you know, I don't know where all strip clubs are. I think there's Memphis, Nashville. I don't know if Knoxville has one. They used to, I heard. I don't know about now if they do. But I mean, there's probably, you know, 3 or 4 larger towns here. Well, heck, what's it, 126? That one that the wrestler used to own. I don't even know if it's still open. There was one up there kind of in the country, up around mile marker 126 off the interstate. So, I mean,
yeah.
But obviously, in Madison County, we got rid of our strip clubs. Same thing in Henry County. Henry County used to have 4 different strip clubs.
Really?
On my way to the lake, if I was going to Paris Landing, you would pass 4 different strip clubs in a town with like 10,000 people. I was like, what in the world?
That's a shocker.
Yeah, I mean, this has been years ago,
Okay.
but they're all gone now, right? And so, obvious, but
that's a different issue, but it's a similar issue.
Well,
it's kind of
a
hard
similar
to,
issue on who decides it. Does the community decide it?
because it's a closed door, 18 and up establishment.
It's already 18 and up.
Right.
It's a closed door. I mean, you know, I don't think any of these strip clubs were letting people in under 18. I mean,
Right.
if they were breaking the law. I mean, obviously we understand sometimes people break the law, and that's a bad thing.
So I think, you know, if you compare the two to what we're talking about with the drag show is the people on the far, you know, conservative side that are appalled by the idea.
Mm-hmm.
They would say, go ahead, do it in your own private business or home.
Sure.
Closed doors, 18 and up. That they would be fine with that, I think. But that's not really. They want to have it more of a at least locally here is more of a festival type thing. So I guess that's the big problem between the groups. I would say is what's the happy medium with this issue here locally.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And you know, is it the right thing going to the state and creating a law? I don't know. I mean, that's for the state to decide, and
Yeah.
I guess they feel like that's what the right thing is to do. I don't know. We're
gonna dig more into it. Coming right to these phone calls here. 731-265-6496. 731-265-6496. Our advanced rehab text line is 731-800-8398. This says strip clubs ain't for the childrens. Bring back the shake junts to Jackson. We'll say good morning and welcome in.
Isn't that the same thing?
Good morning, that's you.
Yeah, good morning.
Hey.
This is you not having your equipment working again.
Uh-oh, which equipment's not working?
You're streaming.
Oh.
Well, I'm watching it right now.
Well, it hasn't been working since yesterday.
Oh, no, that's
I don't
not
know
true.
what you're watching.
No, that's not true.
Oh, yeah.
I pulled it up before we got on.
I think when you put Dan Reeves reruns on yesterday, you turned off the stream.
No, it's on. I'm literally just pulled it up on my phone. I hit the mute button and pulled it up.
Well,
I don't know what to tell you.
You probably need to reboot it.
No, it's good.
You need to reboot it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else you got?
I got a lot.
Good.
You know,
That's what I heard.
It's astonishing that you would not be happy with the law that you're responsible for creating. You and your little mayor and your handful of sex queens, drag queens, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
See, the Proud Boys, they came to Memphis,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought they would show up in Jackson.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
I know you're rooting for that, I think.
Well, no, it's just hilarious that you think you could go out and violate the law in Jackson, Tennessee by...
So why was a new law created? If an existing law was already on the books, why was a new law created?
You violated... No. You and Scotty Boyd, Congor,
Mm-hmm.
and the rest of that crew violated numerous ordinances, and ultimately that's how this got generated to begin with. Because, number one, y'all were all prepared to be selling beer in the city park that you were not allowed.
See, I heard you say that. I remember talking to you a year ago, whatever this was. I heard you say it. I never saw the permit. The permit never came to light. It never even went before the beer board, as far as I know.
Well, that's because Scotty Kongor, your little king, decided that, he was king and he could just band-aid.
But did it come before the board? I mean, look, we understand you don't like the guy. We know you're scared to talk to him when he's on air. I mean, whatever. I honestly don't care if you like him. I'm not his publicist. I don't give a dang if you like the dude or not. But did it ever come before? Because I looked for this information and I awaited that information, but it never was even brought up anywhere that I saw. Did you ever see that?
That's because that you
Did you ever see it? Yes or no? We don't want to hear your suppositions about it. Did it ever come up before a beer board? Was it ever approved? Did anything like that ever even happen?
Yes, it was approved.
Where? Because I couldn't find the
Johnny
information.
Dodd. Well, I know that, Chuckles, because I checked into it. See, that's why you have your little crooked mayor up there playing mumbly peg in the dark, acting like the rest of you bumpkins around here don't have enough sense to know what he never tries these little shenanigans with bright folks. He's always behind closed doors, and yes, he authorized. Let me think of the two city councilmen's names that initially approved beer to be sold in your city park against ordinance. Johnny Doo-Doo Dodd was one of them, okay? And the other is, he sits to the right of his mayor.
Talking about Russ?
Name off your city...
Russ
No.
McKelvey?
Yeah, there you go. No, I don't know who I'm talking to there. Who
That's
you got
Tony
with you,
Nehall.
Chuckles?
Tony Nehal's in today.
Tony
Julie's out.
Nehall. Okay, Tony. So, yeah, Russ. See, McKelvey, right? Isn't that his name?
Russ McKelvey. That's right. That's his name. Yes,
Yeah. Well, see, what ended up happening, Chuckles, was that, yes, there was action taken because I spoke to the young lady in the city hall that was responsible for handling beer permits.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's what you don't know about me.
You spoke to the lady. Okay, so that's good if you spoke to the lady about beer permits, because I think, again, we can all agree there's some common sense ground that everybody can agree on, right? Should you have a drag show at a park? No, probably not. Probably don't need to have like a bikini show or a beauty pageant or anything like that at a public park. I think we can all agree on common sense stuff. Should you be able to sell alcohol at a public park? No. Those are easy. Look how fast we just got through that conversation.
No.
That's
what do you
good.
mean, no? No,
We shouldn't be able to. No, I'm
little
agreeing.
group. No.
All right.
No, you don't. No. See, all the time, Chuck, you want to bring in all kinds of other things to distract what you are going to come to reality with.
I want to distract myself from what I'm going to come to reality with. Hold on, let me write this down, because sometimes these rabbit holes are hard to follow. So I just want to make sure I've got a rope I can dig myself out of with.
That's exactly right. Because see, you when the fire gets hot, you start meandering around about other issues, clouding the issue.
No. The other day, and what Rick's talking about is the other day when I said, look, if we're going to be in a co-parent relationship, and parents aren't going to make the decisions for their children, and the government is, shouldn't we make them on decisions that affect the children a lot more than drag queens? Drag queens are 0.6% of 1% of our population. This is not this big of a deal. My children, I have a 20-year-old son. He has never been to a drag show. I have a 16-year-old, a 12-year-old, 11-year-old. None of them have ever been to drag shows. Never seen one. Most of you listening out there right now have children. Your children have never been to a drag show. Tony, you have children. Your children ever been to a drag show?
Never been to a drag show.
Okay, and so this is one of those things. I don't know what this is happening, but what I know for sure, I've gone through fast food lines. I've given my kids candy. I mean, things that lead to juvenile diabetes, morbid obesity later in life. We know for a fact sometimes that we buy this cheaper food because, heck, food's expensive right now. It's loaded with hormones and things like that. If we can't make good enough decisions as parents, to not keep our kid out of a drag show, okay, if we can't make those decisions, then why don't we have the government help us with stuff that matters a lot more and touches a lot more of the childhood population of all these children out there? Why don't we have the government give us a list of what we can and cannot feed our children? Because you want big government. You want big government as long as it agrees with you. I get you, dude. There's a reason my kids don't go to drag shows. Okay? There's a reason. There's a reason. But there's also a reason why I don't want a large government telling me how to parent my children. I don't. That's my responsibility. You don't need the government to be your daddy. You're sitting here banging on Conger because he's making all these backroom deals, and you're begging the state of Tennessee to raise your kids because you can't do it. That's stupid. That's stupid. You want to give up more control. More control. You want to give them more control than they already have. More control. They're getting working people. I understand you don't work, and congratulations, and I'm very happy for you. But working people right now are paying over 50% clip of what they make. And this is something else I want to get into today. It's a whole other topic. But this use tax and things like that for businesses, I just wrote it. It's over $2,000 for crap I've already paid taxes on to the city of Jackson and to Madison County. That happens in every county, by the way. It's complete trash. It's complete theft. And you want to give these idiots, these people who steal from us day in and day out, you want to give them more control in your life. You want them to have more control of you, not less. Are you scared to be free? Are you scared to not let someone let you be free and make your own decisions?
Well, the bottom line
No,
here
there's not a bottom line. If you hate gay people, you have the freedom to do it. You have the freedom to hate gay people. We live in America. We live in America. We live in Tennessee. But call it what it is. Say, I hate gay people. Cool. You hate gay people. Gotcha. I get it. They're all freaks and perverts. What about the other people? What about the other people who are in this town and do awful things to children? From religious institutions to scouting things to teachers, to all these bad things that happen to kids every day. The only ones you want to go after are the gay ones. And you want to call them perverts and freaks and deviants and things like that. Let's be honest. Let's have an honest discussion with each other. You hate gay people. That's fine. You'll get that right. You'll get that right. But just because you're scared of two gay men doesn't mean the government should be able to allow to be in my children's lives and tell me how to be a parent. It shouldn't.
Well,
your fears should not affect my parenting.
Oh, no, you got me mixed
Yes,
up.
you are. Rick, you're scared to death of gay people. You can't come up with enough words, perverts, and, all this stuff. You're scared to death of them. Unfortunately, to much higher clip. Unfortunately, there's awful things being done to children at a much higher clip. And here's what I'd love for you to say. Let's go get all of them. Because the truth is, you don't give a damn about the kids. You don't like the gays. You don't like the gays. That's fine. But let's call it what it is. You don't like the fact that this is such a non-starter. This is not about protecting kids with you. This is about attacking a group of people. But here's the good news, Rick. You're probably not around a lot of homosexual people in your everyday life, right? You're trying to impose, I want this world to be this way. And man, it's not. It's not. But when we let this woke on the right and this woke on the left, right? When we let this happen and we get away from common sense says two things. Can't have drag shows in public parks. Can't do it. Not going to do it. End of discussion. The discussion's over with that. The fact that there's so much back and forth with it and nobody can decide what a word means, something different. There's a reason my kids don't go, but there's also a reason that I don't let my kids drink lots of sodas and things like that. But those are my choices as a parent. Those are my choices. I don't need the government to be my kid's father. I don't. And honestly, you shouldn't either.
Because fast food's not included in this, okay?
Should be. Should be. It's a lot more damning at a much higher clip rate. Much higher clip rate. It's a lot more damning, Rick. You know what else? You know, most kids that are molested, it's done by a family member. Are we going to do away with family reunions? All the statistics show that most children who are assaulted, it's done by someone in their family. Should we get rid of family reunions? Because if this is about helping children, should we get rid of family reunions? Let's be consistent.
Oh, we are consistent.
Okay, should we get rid of family reunions since we know?
So
There's no bottom line, Rick. This is an adult conversation. All right, I know you want to call everybody names and stuff like that. And sometimes I'll give you a lot of rope. I'll give you a lot of rope on this show. When you're calling in about something that really doesn't matter, I'll let you do it. But we live with these people in our community. We're making national news here. We have the party of limited government is now saying we need more government to tell us what to do with our kids. Do you trust these people to not make any more decisions when it comes to do with your family? Because I don't. I don't trust these people, man. And I'm not talking about anyone in particular. I'm not talking about Chris Todd or Ed Jackson or anybody in particular. I'm talking about my government as a whole, locally, state, and federal. I don't trust them to give them more power because we're free. We live in a free society. It's our job, but that's a big responsibility. It's a giant responsibility. You're wanting them to control more of your life, which means you can't do it on your own. Don't make everybody my daddy because you want somebody to be yours. That's not freedom. That's not right. That's not fair.
Well, you are about to find out because of your inaction and your agreement with obscenity.
What is
enforcing obscenity?
Tell me what's obscene. Is a man dressed, or is a man wearing a dress, is that obscene? A woman wearing a tuxedo, is that obscene? Help me understand the word. What's obscene? What's obscene?
Well, you need to get out you need to get out.
No. There's a million different ways. Obscene. What about cheerleaders? I talked about 1997. I was in Crockett County. Our cheerleaders went to the national competition in Panama City, Florida. Before they did, we had an assembly before they left. And the cheerleaders did their dance and their routine. And one of the songs they danced to was Tootsie Roll, where they would all roll their backsides. I was a 16-year-old kid. I wouldn't call that obscene, but I know I sure as hell got excited. Cheerleading, is that done too? Is it anything that could sexually arouse a youth? Is that obscene? Is it?
Chuck, you are so out of balance.
No, I'm not. Let's call this bill what it is. Quit being gay. Quit being gay. This is what call it. Just hey, don't be gay. Don't be gay. Help me out.
The law is going to be signed.
Yes,
okay?
I agree.
And so ultimately, your little loophole, which really didn't exist, what existed was that the so-called non-leadership of Mad County cowered down to allow for your gay, lesbian, homosexual, whatever you had going on in the Civic Center.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, if Tony and I needed to have an event of our choosing in the Civic Center, we would have to sign a contract. But with Baby Condor, he was going to give that facility up for free.
He didn't. Any nonprofit gets a facility for $1,647. It's $1,647. He came on my show back when I was at my old station. He read that. He read that quote. You were listening in that day. You know what it was. It was $1,647 for the use of that. Now, if you needed to use more of the Civic Center, it would cost more money. But that's a nonprofit fee. That's what it is.
No, that's not true.
Yes, it is. I mean, I can't argue about facts with you, right? We can argue about opinion. We can't argue facts.
Well, that's right. And you don't have any facts. See,
the part that I just hit you with, which was the fact of what it costs to rent out the Civic Center, that didn't tickle your fancy there?
You're not allowed to harvest any more little people around here. You need to go elsewhere.
What does that mean? What does that mean, harvest little people?
Harvest? Well, you've been harvesting. See, homosexuals, they're not very adept at reproduction. So in order for Tony, you need to go ahead and follow up with the state law and mandate that there is a Madison County ordinance that totally restricts any gay, lesbian, transvestite sexual performance, i.e. cabaret action in the county, and then we'll be finished with that, see? You won't allow little Congor to take it upon himself to try to choke down. You know, I'm still astonished at Mother Liberty Church, Tony.
You know why they did? Well, never mind, Rick. You ask them why they did, because I actually have. Ask why they did. They didn't want any part of this. This is a non-starter for them. You need to ask them why they didn't do it. But again, if you wish that somebody in our city leadership would have made a decision that would have been illegal by advice of his lawyers, not a decision he wanted to make or didn't, his role was to enforce the law. If you wanted somebody like the ACLU to come in here and sue the brakes off the city of Jackson and put us in real debt, and I know you don't live in the city of Jackson, so you don't really care. You would just soon root for the world to burn, right? But I do. I pay taxes here. I don't want my taxes going to a lawsuit where lawyers are saying, hey, look, this is illegal. Now, if this bill gets passed, or when this bill gets passed, once this bill is passed, then it won't be a decision. It won't matter who's the mayor of a town. It won't be legal to do. But at the time, we were getting sued, brother man. The ACLU was going to step in and sue the brakes off of our town. Is that what we really want?
I'm sure the issue is going to go to the courts anyway.
Well, it will, but at some point,
not necessarily against the city.
Yeah,
but
see,
and that's violated the law.
That's not true, and you know it because they wouldn't have created a new law. You know that's not true, Rick. You're not that dumb. You're thick-headed, but you're not stupid. You know that's not true. This comes in, Rick. Hang on, some of these will be for you, I bet. Advanced Rehab text line number 731-800-8398. It says it comes down to this. Rick and most of the Republicans have the ice cream and manure problem. They like mixing religion and politics, which will ruin both. Rick doesn't understand this. See, I don't like that text. Get religion out of this. Get religion out of this, man. Get religion out of this. This says, please get Idiot Rick off the radio. Good conversation till he got on here. Then it says, Chuck, you're right. And then it says, you keep saying the same thing over and over. You sound like Rick. Please cut him off. Never mind. I'll cut you off.
I think Chuck's had an extra energy drink today.
Hadn't had any yet, but I'm about to. This says Rick needs our jails filled and needs big government to referee what's drag and what isn't. Will the government pass a law preventing me from wearing a kilt? My dad's side is Norwegian and Scottish. So if you invite me to a wedding, I got to wear it. This comes in and says, ask Big Rick. Ask Big Rick if you can't sell alcohol in a city park, how did they get away with it for Music and Barbecue Festival in Memphis? What about Miss Universe and Miss America? Is that obscene? They have a bathing suit contest. Rick, this comes in and says, oh, it's not pulling up. That's the worst. It says, Rick seriously needs to go see Jesus Revolution movie.
Now,
he needs a new perspective.
Memphis in May is on Tom Lee Park. That's a Memphis.
Is that a Memphis park?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't think you should be drinking.
There's a lot of beer sold there.
Yep. Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah,
I'll give you last word.
Oh, absolutely. Well, the reason that you can't sell beer in the city park of Jackson is because it's against city ordinance.
Right.
See? But you had two city councilmen, quote, serving on your beer board. Two. Okay? The other one quit. Went away.
Mm-hmm.
So
he went to Memphis.
then all of a sudden when the fire got hot, then all of a sudden, no, that never happened. Well, it did happen, and then it was rescinded. Okay? That's what actually happened on your beer sale. Then on top of that, you violated the compromise of the gay parade, whatever, in the Civic Center was within 500 feet of a church. That is on the books as a violation of the law. But you and your little Congo baby and your gathering somehow got the rest of the community to accept that as a compromise. Well, the compromise was a violation of the law. But y'all are not lawful. Y'all are lawless. And so ultimately you scream freedom.
Yeah.
When actually
I do.
that is not freedom.
It is. You want to see the town burn, man. You do. You want to see the town burn because it makes for interesting fodder for you. Believe me, I do a talk radio show. I'm all about interesting. Interesting's better, right? Interesting is better for talk radio people than boring. But we live here. This isn't about places that aren't real. This isn't about Mayor Lightfoot, that terrible mayor up in Chicago, not getting reelected. Because you know what? We rarely go to Chicago. Who cares? This is about people that we live here with. You're calling them pedophiles. You're calling them perverts. It's not just you. There's a whole lot of other people too, and they never even reach out. You never even reached out, but you'll run into these people. You'll let these people make donations and work on boards of charities that affect this town. You'll let them do that. You let them do that. It's a shame. It's a shame. Sometimes when things are serious and we can't handle it, and this is what we go to. It's a problem. Woke on the left is a problem. That's awful. Woke on the right can be a scary thing for us too. I'll give you a last word, Rick.
Okay. You asked for it. You got it. There's a brand new law that's going to take place. And the public display of groping and ultimately harvesting. So you speak like you got life experience about having to deal with deviant.
Rick, I've met people that are gay, never been groped. I consider myself a semi-attractive man. They've never tried to grope me, ever, not once. I mean, hell, maybe I should be insulted. It's just never happened. It's just never happened. Now, do I think that there's bad things that happen to children? Oh, absolutely, I do. And I think it makes you the lowest scum of the earth when you do that. But I'm not dumb enough to think that it just happens in one spot. I'm not. And if we're going to protect the kids, let's protect the kids. I've left you on for a little bit, Rick. I appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much, bud. We'll say good morning. Welcome in.
Hey, you remember last week, Miss Julie said that even the best-looking 15-year-old girl ever should be able to compete in a, bikini contest until she's 18 or 21.
Okay.
And I was just thinking, what about the little girls that are in the gymnastics class?
Pageants. I mean, I know, and this is the thing. The word obscene. It's tough. It's tough when there is. I've said this before on radio, and people get upset a little bit. But the truth is not the truth, right? The truth is your perspective on it. What you honestly believe, that is your truth. Tony, I know that you're a man of faith. And yes, it's true that there's God and there is Jesus and everything like that.
I believe that. Yes,
see,
sir.
Bull, and Bull is not, and I don't want to pit you guys against each other because I respect the heck out of both of you. Bull does not believe that. That is the truth for both of you, right? I'm just using this as an example. The truth is a perception. All right. So once we start talking perception, we have perceptions of obscene, we have perceptions of abhorrent, and they can't all line up. They're not all going to line up exactly. That's why I'm saying this bill needs to be a very black and white bill.
Yeah.
You've got to be 18 plus to go to a drag show. It can't leave anything else out. And so when people ask the question, okay, what if people dress in drag and go to a protest? Or can they walk down the street in a parade in drag? Okay, it's got to be no. This is just this bill. This is a black and white thing about an adult cabaret performance.
Yeah, I actually pulled it up. So this is actually what I think a lot of listeners may be like, well, what does the bill say?
Mm-hmm.
This is the House version. It says, as introduced, creates an offense for a person who engages in an adult cabaret performance on public property or in a location where the adult cabaret performance could be viewed by a person who is not an adult. And it says it amends TCA Title 7, Chapter 51, Part 14, which is obviously part of some obscenity laws.
Sure.
So, and I actually read some of the obscenity laws. There's a lot of details in there about, what you can't do in front of children that are a lot on the books. So
yeah, it's
kind of like they're just kind of adding to that,
right,
with the adult cabaret language is what it seems.
Yeah, adult cabaret. And that's cool. But all right. So then it goes to the question, and I don't think this has ever happened here, Bull, and if you know any different, let us know. But like in other cities, I don't know why this is a thing, but people dressing in drag and going to read to children at story time hour. I don't know why that's a thing. Does that cover that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think parents get to have a lot of rights and say, look, I don't want that happening at my kid's school, right? That should be, I loved your idea of saying should be a community thing, a community decision base, right? There should be lots of differences. And these, because what may fly at a big school in Nashville or in Memphis, probably not going to fly here. It's definitely not going to fly in Crockett County where I grew up. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bull.
Beach contest in the bikini, but on that very same day,
right,
as soon as that contest is over, she can be in a volleyball contest. Like, the Olympic girls, they're just about 99% naked and playing volleyball.
And the docks at Fisherdale, we've all seen those pictures. Let's not pretend with one another. This is too serious of a conversation to pretend. We've all seen those pictures on Facebook and other social media outlets when they're out on that dock, out in the water. Is that private property? Because they're definitely out in the open. And these girls were wearing like G-strings and thongs. And I mean, I've never been to it, but I've certainly clicked through it. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I used to be young once before I was so old. Is that obscene?
Because
there's people on the river.
Here.
There's people on the river looking at that.
Listen to this hypothetical.
Right.
So just drag shows have been going on for a long time. I mean, the 60s or 70s drag became a deal.
Yeah.
So
maybe.
Just think back in the 60s and 70s, did we have all this, I guess, push for some people and parents to take their kids in and have them changed at age 9 to a girl?
Right.
So
now that part's insane.
But listen, hear me out. I think a lot of this from a lot of the people that have a problem with, the idea of a drag show or just the act of doing that is pushing. They think maybe it's pushing the normality of taking your kid in at less than 18 and changing their sex, because I think that most Americans would say, that's probably not a good idea. I mean, because I can say as a dad, I mean, I don't think my kids, put it this way, my kids need a lot of guidance from me because they make a lot of bad decisions.
Sure.
They're kids.
Right.
So I think, just what do you think about that? I mean, if that would have been happening back then, would we have had the same pushback? Because obviously drag shows have been going on for forever. It's not like this is a new thing.
Right. I think that you've make an interesting point, and I think that if you'll follow my logic here, you've made a point. I think woke is what's the most dangerous, but woke is just not about these people on the left. They're in San Francisco who want to have tents for people to do drugs in, or in New York or these other places. That's woke, and that's crazy. Letting a 9-year-old decide that is insane. That is absolutely insane. But my contention is, because this woke movement on the left started, you're also seeing this woke movement on the right. I think both are dangerous to reasonably minded people. I think both are dangerous, and both allow people to overstretch freedoms and to allow government in their lives too much this way and too much that way. And so to answer your question, yes, I think that because now we're seeing some of these things that normal, reasonable people would say, Bill Maher, who I know people on the right hate. I actually watched Bill Maher's show for a long time. I'm a conservative. I don't agree with anything. I don't agree with the stuff he said about Trump. I think he's whiny, right? But I like to hear the other side. I do like to hear the other side.
But he did push back a lot against the government mandate for shots and things like that.
He pushes back against the woke movement, and he said this. He said, guys, you guys are idiots. You're going to destroy the liberal party. Mm-hmm. He said, you're going to destroy it, because he's like, when I was 9 years old, I wanted to be a pirate. Thank God my parents didn't gouge my eye out, put an eye patch over me, and cut my leg off, and put a wooden stump.
Exactly.
Yeah, kids don't know, and that's okay.
We're
involving our kids, but we're also involving the government. Go ahead, Bull.
Well, it's you're talking about being young, and you shouldn't be able to make a decision. Should the 9-year-old get baptized?
With his parents. I mean, I don't know that 9. I think that there's an age of consent. That's a religious discussion. My son was baptized at 13. So, but yeah, I mean, that's every parent does it differently.
Every Christian
christening is its thing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, to tell you, as a Catholic, every baptism, the way the Catholics look at it is going back to the time of Jesus. Is if you wanted to be a Christian, you would need to be baptized, and a parent's role is say we're going to raise them in the church. So we say, hey, let's go ahead and just get this baptism done, because this is the way we're going to raise our children. So, I understand what you're saying there, but I guess the thing about baptism is different than, hey,
puberty blockers.
Let's go change this person's, let's cut off some of their body parts.
Or
permanent
have
damage.
puberty blockers or things like
and
that.
puberty blockers, obviously, that messes with their biology. So
let's look how humans are. If you tell them something when they're young and really make them believe it, they're likely to believe it. Like
sometimes.
And stuff like
now,
that.
Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie's child was a girl, and they dressed him as a boy. And I just saw this morning, that this girl that was dressed as a boy for several years is now a normal female who's as feminine as anything. Now, I don't think they went and took him to the doctor and gave him drugs and, did the things that are happening. So that kid was able to determine who they wanted to be.
Once they were actually an adult.
Because I think the girl's a teenager now. I don't even know her name, but.
Let's say you're telling these kids, like they pledge allegiance to the flag in the first grade, and then you tell them they need to vote when they're in school and teach them about politics. And, they're kind of like, well, I'm going to be a good American. I'm going to vote. Then when you get older and you see that our politicians are just skunks getting paid off by lobbyists and rich companies in other countries, they're just in it to get paid and get money under the table, and they're all crooks.
Yeah. I mean, some of them
It's hard to snap at, even though it's all a lie. It's all a joke.
I mean,
here's some people think one party's better than the other. No, they're all for sale.
It's not all a joke. Yeah, they do have issues. Bull, I'm so sorry. I'm way behind. Feel free to call back next hour if you want to. I didn't let you get all your thoughts out, and I apologize for that. But I got people looking at me through the glass. They're like, hey, man, you missed the top of the hour news. We have a lot of top of the hour news fans.
I mean, there's good information on that.
There is. We got 1 million texts to catch up. We're going to do that when we get back. If you want to get in with us, 731-265-6496 is our Jackson IV and Wellness Clinic call-in number. Our advanced rehab text line number, 731-800-8398.
Hey, this is Chuck Walker with Southeastern Termite and Pest Control. We recently celebrated our 20th year in business here in West Tennessee. That's 2 decades of growth for us. We've added to our work family, moved locations a few times, seen our coworkers have kids and grandkids. We've even seen our clients who were kids when we started at their parents' house now call us to take care of their homes. Lots of things change over 20 years, but here's what hasn't. We can still be reached 24 hours a day. We still provide quality, guaranteed termite and pest control service for all of West Tennessee. We still are the go-to company for real estate closing letters. We still provide quality fungus treatments and affordable moisture barriers. We still take care of your bed bugs, brown recluse, and every other pest problem you could have. If you own a home, you need termite protection. And the biggest thing we've learned in 20 years, we need you. Give us a call 24 hours a day for a different kind of experience from a service company. Southeastern, 660-1052. That's Southeastern, 660-1052.
Is your office or home office in need of a new printer, copier, fax, or multifunction machine? Do you need business cards, envelopes, or office supplies? Are you looking to upgrade to new office furniture? Office World Incorporated in Trenton has been serving all of the Gibson County and the West Tennessee area for over 65 years. Office World is a franchise partner of OfficeZilla. Call today, 731-855-9131, or email officeworldinc@gmail.com.
Hey y'all, Lolo here with an event you do not want to miss. This year's Carl Perkins Center Blue Suede Dinner and Auction will feature an electrifying musical evening with the greatest piano men, all the way from New York City. Also, enjoy bidding on a fantastic array of auction items, such as trips, jewelry, and sports events, all to raise money to help children and families across West Tennessee. Tables are going fast, so don't wait. Call 731-668-4000.
King Jewelers is not your typical run-of-the-mill jewelry store. It's an iconic symbol of love. Custom handmade jewelry to suit your taste or melt down your old stuff and create something completely new. Grover has over 35 years as a certified jeweler with While You Wait services that include free jewelry cleaning, fine jewelry, friendly staff, custom designs, quality repairs, and of course, Grover. KingJewelersJackson.com, 16B Conrad Drive, Jackson. Jackson. Follow King Jewelers Jackson on social media for special savings.
Looking to add a little spice to your love life?
Nothing adds spice like gunpowder.
Jackson's only indoor shooting range, date night at the range. Here's what you lovebirds get: a shooting lane for two targets, 100 rounds of ammo, eye and ear protection, and a $30 gift certificate to Texas Roadhouse. All for just $99.99.
Now that's firepower.
Perfect for a gift card from the range. The Range, 2310 North Highland Avenue in Jackson.
Go to therange.com.
My name is Steven and I'm 41 years old. I started having problems with my weight, my focus, my energy all around. I spent thousands of dollars a year on supplements trying to get my weight down, and it never worked.
Are these problems affecting your work, your relationships, and your quality of life? You'll be happy to know there is an exciting, natural solution available called BioT. BioT uses a natural way for men and women to correct these problems by safely and accurately balancing hormone levels without the use of synthetic injections or creams.
I got the treatment and it has been the best decision of my life. I feel great. I'm losing weight. I have more energy. I'm getting stronger in the gym and I can focus so much better. And I notice that I also sleep better and I'm always in a good mood. And I believe it's all because of the BioT treatment.
To schedule an appointment to find out if BioTE is right for you, call 731-462-3596. That's 731-462-3596.
96.5 FM. Home of the Dan Reeves Show.
Weekday afternoons, 3 till 6.
Welcome back into Walker Talks. Had a busy first hour and a half of the program. We got about an hour 35 left, taking you all the way to 1 o'clock when you'll get to hear from Dave Ramsey. 3 to 6, Dan Reeves Show, live in studio. Dan Reeves, Gina Langley, Larry Newman, breaking down that weather country style. Well, Larry, a lot of people don't know this. He's actually at a weatherman training camp right now. Larry Newman, yeah, they have this, a lot of people don't know this. They meet once a quarter, and, they will do things like belly crawls, rock climbing walls. Yeah, they'll have to run through actual rain as part of their weatherman training perspective. So Larry Newman, he's doing that right now. He'll be back today at 3 o'clock.
It says today
I turned you off. You put your headphones on. Now
there we go. It says today we're on a flood watch from 3 to 6. I guess we're going to get a heavy amount of rain in a short period of time.
Yeah, I think so. And and then tomorrow is when the storms, like tomorrow evening, when the storms are supposed to hit. If you want to get in with us, 731-265-6496, 731-265-6496. It's our Jackson IV and Wellness Clinic call-in number. Our advanced rehab text line, 731-800-8398, 731-800-8398. Says, what about the Miss Universe and Miss America? Are they obscene? They have bathing suit contest. Surely not, right? And didn't one of them get away from that, like the bathing suit competition?
I recall that. I'm not a big fan of those things personally, but
me either. I think they're good for the town. Like I know we have a big one here, so I don't want to.
I mean, I don't hate them. I just don't follow it personally.
Me either. Yeah. Me either. It's not my jam. It says, man, just so much hate in Rick's heart. This comes in. Says, I've learned on my heritage on one side of my family, all the way. Let me start this again. I've learned my heritage on one side of my family all the way back to Scotland. And my family is one of the first families of Tennessee. I can trace exactly why I'm here in West Tennessee. I bought these earrings and wear them in one ear. I thought yesterday, instead of being state pride, it could now be seen as gay hate. And what's the earrings? Oh, it's one earring's a heart, and the other one's like the state of Tennessee. I hope not. And I don't want anybody to hate Tennessee. And I don't hate Tennessee. And I don't even hate our politicians. I just want a nice, easy relationship with our politicians, right? I don't want to invite them into making decisions for me. And look, this is a simple thing. Hey, kids can't go to drag shows. Drag shows are 18 plus. Got to be in a private venue, closed doors. Boom, done. Boom, done. Everything's wrapped up nice and tight. The problem is when you leave it some gray area, which you've looked into the bill and you said they've done a pretty good job by your estimation of defining what everything is. And so, as long as that's done, then we're fine. This comes in Advanced Rehab text line 731-800-8398.
It looks
731-800-8398.
Public property, but what's interesting about that is, the Civic Center is public property,
right?
So,
and I think that was a point of contention for people when it was moved there. But it was one of the early suggestions by people that were against it. Which, for the record, I was actually against it being in a park from day one. I thought that was such a dumb idea.
Yeah.
This says it's all about these people's religious views. Just ask them how they think USA is a Christian nation. All right, see, I've got a problem with this. This isn't religious. I mean, now, you could say, well, Chuck, everything's religious.
Everything is.
Right. But what I'm saying is this should not be used.
You can't murder somebody. That's a thou shalt not kill. So
but what I'm saying is we should not use this thing right here. I think it's unfair to pit different religious people against one another.
Yeah.
Okay. Because there's some
just not going to get anywhere.
Denominations, of course not. There's some denominations, even within the Christian faith, that are okay and more accepting to homosexual behavior than others.
Think about why we exist. Go back to how did America start? Well, it was because religions were pit against the religions.
Right.
And then they said, we're out of here. We're going to go with this land over here. And half of us are probably going to die, but we're going to give it a shot.
We got to be careful about pitting different religious institutions against others and then believers against non-believers. That's because that's
not going to be productive.
The opposite. That's the opposite of what we're supposed to do. That's the exact opposite of what we're supposed to do. So I think we got to be careful with our verbiage. This comes in, it says, ask Rick, Chris Todd, Bill Lee, if their Christianity is an influence or political views. No, of course it is.
Yeah,
it's influencing everything, and that's okay. I don't have any problem with that. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, our Constitution and all, some of the Bill of Rights, they have Judeo-Christian, principles in them.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a fact. So
says, I don't care what my neighbor does as long as he doesn't break my leg or pick my pocket. This comes in 731-800-8398, Advanced Rehab text line. It says, Chuck laying the smackdown on Rick. Nah, I'm just trying to talk to him about it. Because you can't call every gay person a child molester. You can't. You can't.
No.
What if we said that about other things that are awful? There's some really great institutions out there where awful things have happened to children. I'm not going to condemn the entire institution, not the faith, not the organization, not the anything. I'm not going to do that. The problem is bad people, right? Bad people are doing this to children.
Sure.
Sick people are doing this to children. That's the real truth.
What's interesting, Chuck, is if you really dig into some of these, this is off Twitter again, there's a gay group that tweeted about basically they're supporting the idea of this medical transition thing. Basically, they're like, hey, we don't need to do this to 8-year-olds. And this is like a gay group. So
when I was doing my interviews last year, when this was such an issue, I asked that question. To a member of the board, and they were like, no, I don't think that's right at all. I don't think a kid. Also, if a little girl is struggling with her self-confidence at 15 because boys aren't noticing her, I don't think that we should get her a boob job.
Yeah, I don't think
so
either.
So I don't think that any alterations to a body should be made for minors. Even elective surgeries, I don't think it should be done. In the baseball world, there are children who have been playing travel baseball and they're good players.
Yeah.
You can actually get Tommy John surgery. If you don't need it, you can get it as an elective. And so sometimes kids will do that between their sophomore and junior season. Mr. Junior year, come back on fire as a senior because it will actually make you throw harder. You can recover better now.
Yeah.
That's abusive too. So, but this is in lots of different areas of life. This isn't just targeting a group.
Of course, you can't say Tommy John and removing your male genitalia is exactly the same thing.
Well, I think cutting open a child's body is, though.
Yeah.
When it's not medically necessary. See, that's a difference, right? Medically necessary. I think if a kid's playing baseball and he tears his UC joint, he's got to get Tommy John surgery to recover healthy. Yes, of course, that's medically necessary.
Right.
But when it's an elective surgery, I think we could say, hey, we don't need these elective surgeries. This says, can Rick just say he loves big government? Old Dixiecrats like Rick always love them some big government to police morality. Drag shows have actually been going on for centuries, this one says Tony. See, I have no idea.
Yeah.
This comes in, Advanced Rehab text line, 731-800-8398 says, please tell me that Don't Tread on Me cup is made in China. Oh, Tony, do we have a Don't Tread on Me cup? It's a Yukon Outfitters.
I'm not sure where it's made.
Oh, that would be the very best.
I have to dump my water on myself to read this, I think. So
it says if they pass the obscenity law, they'll have to ban all Tennessee orange from being worn in public. Okay, now you can, Tony. This is some hate speech by one of your friends, I'm sure.
Madison County ordinance? No, that probably wouldn't pass. I'm sorry.
It would not pass. This comes in Advanced Rehab text line 731-800.
Just kidding, Tennessee fans. I love you guys.
8398 says European migrants fled to the U.S. to escape feudal monarchies and the totalitarian ways. Religion was a part of it. Yeah, and again, I have zero problem with anyone's religion, even the religions I don't agree with.
Yeah.
Like, I've met people who are Muslim who I actually enjoyed my short, brief interaction with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say, oh my God, all of you. I didn't do that. I've met people that are Hindu. I've met people that are atheists.
How do you think a drag show would go over in Iran?
But if that's our measuring
probably
stick,
not very well.
I don't think so at all. But you know what else wouldn't go over well in Iran? If you walked outside, a woman walked outside and she didn't have her mask and stuff on,
right.
They would bury her in her hole with her head hanging out, and the sun would be the first one to throw a rock and hit her in the face, and then she would be stoned to death.
I know. It's
so
bad.
that's so if or excuse me,
I think if
I don't want Iran to be our measuring
off the top
bar.
of buildings there.
Yeah. And they do all kinds of stuff. Like
right.
This show, I would certainly get killed for doing this show in Iran. So I just don't know that I'm comfortable with Iran being our measuring bar.
We can discuss this and be adults about these things.
Yeah, I think so. This says, if it is a sin to be gay, are they the only ones we want in the church? So they will be saved.
I can tell you the Catholic Church is ruling that it's not a sin to be gay, but it's a sin to be in a relationship and do things behind closed doors that people do.
Like gay sex?
That's my assumption. Yes.
That would be the thing? Okay.
Right.
There was a guy that I loved. Loved. Used to go to church with him. He used to be a professor at Lambeth. Went to a Church of Christ church at the time. Really nice guy. Mr. Jim was his name. I'm not going to give his last name, and I don't even know if he's around. He was older. And I asked him this question one time because I respected his opinion. And I was like, with homosexual people, should they be at church? Should they not? Should they be? And he said, Chuck, and you got to think this is he's a devout Church of Christ guy, but really nice, easy guy to talk to. And I said, what's your opinion on this? Like, can people be born that way? Can people be born that way? And he had, I thought, was one of the most, one of the best descriptions that I'd ever heard from a religious standpoint with it. And Mr. Jim told me, he's like, Chuck, he's like, my wife and I got divorced. I haven't remarried. She hasn't remarried. I'm not married now. He's like, but we're divorced. And he's like, let's look down upon in the fact that's not a good thing. He's like, because I had a wife and she left me, I'm still attracted to women. I am. That is my natural predilection. I'm attracted to women, but I don't act on that in a sexual manner. He's like, I think it's the same thing. And that's what he told me. And I thought, well, that makes a lot of sense.
I mean, that does make a lot of sense.
I've never heard anybody say it that way. Mr. Jim said it, and I thought, you know what?
Because certainly men and women have different desires and different levels of, activity sexually.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
I thought that was a neat way to put it. 731-265-6496. It's our Jackson Ivy and Wellness Clinic call-in number.
But everybody's different.
731-265-6496. Our Advanced Rehab text line coming right to these phone calls here. 731-800-8398. 731-800-8398. We'll still say good morning to you and welcome in.
Now, how are you going to have a Church of Christ debate when I'm not there?
Oh, Julie.
Oh, Lord.
How are you doing, sweetheart?
I'm okay. Just getting stuff moved and doing all the things we got to do.
We've been praying
But I
for
miss you guys.
Yeah.
We miss you every time we pull the trigger up to this point.
I know. Have y'all seen all the stuff going on right now and everything where people are like cornering Governor Bill Lee and being like, is this you in drag?
We've seen the pictures. I don't know the details, but it's certainly all over your phone when you search,
when you open
search
your phone
this
up.
idea. It's like every ABC News. It's a big deal.
This issue, which I would contend originated for our state level here in Jackson, and I know we've kind of been hitting it hard for a few days, and I hate it. I hate it because you don't have the same show over and over when you do a talk radio show, but you also, we're. Julie, when you were in here the other day, we read an article that was in the UK about Jackson, Tennessee, and the origins of this and this legislation and everything. I'm gonna say two things. Number one, do I think that this whole thing could have been done saying, hey, look, if you're gonna have a drag show, we're going to call drag shows adult cabaret performances. If there's going to be any drag show, you got to be 18 to get in. Boom, done. That's it. We're not discussing if a man dresses up like a woman and goes to Walmart or goes to a protest or walks in a parade. Right. We're not discussing that. This is just a one and done bill. I think that would have ended it. And now I also think it's stupid. Bill Lee is obviously not a drag queen. He did the same thing that tons of people have done. He dressed and had a powder puff football game. The cheerleaders played football. The football players dressed like cheerleaders. That's probably what happened. I think I think it can, and this is what I've said. I don't know how much of the program you've been able to catch. This whole extremism on both sides, this is what runs
ridiculous
politics away from people on the left and on the right. Yep. This is a quick fix. So, but yes, I do think it's interesting that, and it's the reason I would never run for public office because God knows the pictures of me out there. Couldn't do it.
It just polarizes both parties, and at the end of the day, the greatest way to ruin something is divide it. Divide and conquer. So we're just playing into all the crap, and we're polarizing each side, and there's extreme on both sides, and it just seems to hurt us and hinder us a lot more than help us.
It does. It's almost like people want us fighting with one another to miss out on other stuff, isn't it?
It seemed to be a trend lately.
I would seem to say that. I think that's a pretty good assessment of it, Chuck. We talked about this 100 times in private, just how if they can separate us and they can keep us mad and keep us distracted from what else is going on.
It is. And this could have been fixed. Honestly, people with a brain could have fixed this whole thing in 5 minutes. Hey, guys, we're not going to have this at a park. This is a park. It's a drag show. We're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Have it somewhere else. We're going to move it. All of this could have been, we could have cut the head off really, really quickly.
I think the problem with that, though, was really that there was no real legislation in place for that.
Right.
And if they would have just cut it off and ended it, then the ACLU would have stepped in, and there would have been a pretty large-sized lawsuit that would have been funded by taxpayer dollars and could have hurt us on a city and county level. So I guess this is what they're trying to do, but I feel like they're muddying the waters instead of just coming in with a clean law of if you're going to a drag show, it's 18 and up.
Right. And that's black and white. There's all kinds of articles. Now,
I guess the muddy water is in the public owned place.
Could somebody who dresses in drag pick their child up at school?
Yeah.
And the car pickup line. That's a public school. Could that happen? Now, you're going to hear, well, that's not a sexual thing. Okay, but what? Tell me what's sexual and what's not. Because, again, 1997, Crockett County Gymnasium, seeing the dance team, the cheerleaders perform the Tootsie Roll, I was, I'm not going to say aroused on the radio, but you can do the math. So I don't know what sexualization is. Lee had a good quote. He said, when it's asked the question about him dressed up, he said, what a ridiculous question that is. Lee was visibly angry at this point, said conflating something like that to sexualized entertainment in front of children, which is a very serious question. So, if a man dresses in a dress, fully clothed, big, long evening gown dress, which you've seen pictures of, right? We've watched, movies. I've seen, like Robin Williams and Mrs. Doubtfire. This is what some of these people look like. That's about as sexualized as they are. If someone's lip syncing to a Cher song, if you believe on a stage, is that over sexualization. I was never attracted to Mrs. Doubtfire, not one time. I'm not that attracted to Medea, but I sure as heck love her movies.
Yeah, you leave way too much up to people's transgressions and their beliefs, and that just you cannot do that.
I hope that Tennessee and our community can move on to things that, like, I mean, not that this isn't important, but it is a dividing thing. Let's try to unite and not divide. I think that's a good idea going forward.
It breeds hate on both sides, because I think that there are people
so
now.
Right.
I think that there are people now who hate gay people who are and they already did, but now they do even more openly. And I think there's now gay people who are even more ardent. No, we're different. We're separate. And I think much like what we saw here in Jackson, we have two sides digging in so much that by the time it is time to talk, you're so dug in, it's really, really hard. It's really hard.
It's human nature for some people to be like that, I would say.
And that's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
Because at some point, an adult, not me, but somebody smarter than me, which does not impress me to be smarter than me, by the way, but somebody's going to have to figure out how we get through this, because Tony's right. We're making something that's not this big of an issue the only issue. And then those, the people that we kicked out of our country here, after we moved the Indians over, the British, now they're doing reports about it in their papers.
Yep.
Right? We got a problem. It originated here in Jackson, Tennessee. Let's figure it out. Let's find the solution.
I'm more concerned
here in Jackson,
about
Tennessee.
Fentanyl and coming across our border
Amen.
And killing people.
Amen.
How many
Amen.
people are killed by fentanyl every day?
Fentanyl doesn't care if
Like,
you're gay or straight.
Every 15
Best
seconds,
I can
maybe.
know. Best I can tell,
There's
fentanyl doesn't
no
care.
prejudice.
No
There's
prejudices.
prejudice with fentanyl.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I love you guys. I just want to call and give you a hard time.
We love you, Julie.
We
Be
miss
good
you.
out there. We miss
See
you.
y'all later.
All right, Julie. Julie Holt of Walker Talks with Chuck and Julie calling in. Couple of texts to clean up here. 731-800-8398. 731-800-8398 is our advanced rehab text line. Our Jackson IV and Wellness Clinic number. 731-265-6496. That's how you call us on the telephone. This says Yukon Outfitters has a manufacturing facility in Alamo, Tennessee. And that's what the front of your cup says. It says Yukon Outfitters. So there you go.
It
Tony.
does, yeah.
That's wonderful news.
That's
It's not
fantastic.
from China.
Yeah, it says YukonOutfitters.com. My dad gave me this, so I didn't buy it.
It definitely came from China. He got that on Shein.
It says do not microwave. Obviously, it's metal.
This comes in. It says,
Yeah.
just in case you didn't know, the women in Iran are protesting now without their head covering, showing their hair. I did read that.
You know,
And that's,
I got a little bit of that in the last month, and it seems to me there's a big movement where that may happen.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's great. I mean, I'm again,
Because,
freedoms,
pre-1979, that was a normal thing. If you were in Iran, it was more like an American culture. And then the current, I guess, the people in charge now have kind of been in charge since then.
Mm-hmm.
That was the Iranian Revolution, I believe, is what they called it. So
the Ayatollah and all that. Yeah.
Well, I
remember random words about it.
Well, actually, I have a personal experience. When I went to Kentucky, there was a guy, Jason, my roommate, his family left Iran that time and came here because he was born in Iran. So
Wow.
Yeah, so he was my roommate for a couple of years.
Did you turn Iranian?
No.
Okay.
But
You
he
never
was
know those things
Baha'i
work.
faith, which is probably a faith that people don't even know exists. They believe in all prophets are equal.
Really?
Yes.
That's an interesting thing out there.
It is a different
Was he
scenario.
a practicing whatever you just said?
Sorta. I wouldn't say he was hardcore. He-
Like super devout?
yeah.
This comes in, Advanced Rehab text line 731-800-8398. Far-right conservatives have more in common with fundamentalist Muslims than what they'd like to admit when it comes to social issues. Man, I hope not.
Yeah.
Now, I also wouldn't consider myself a far-right or left anything.
I would say that far-right conservatives don't want to throw homosexuals off buildings. I'd hope not.
I mean, you say that with all confidence?
I
Because
mean,
I believe that there are far left
I
people.
wouldn't want to do that. I don't
I think that
I'm
there
a
are people
far-right,
on the
but-
far left that do want to let little children have sex. That's insane to me. That's
Yeah.
absolutely insane. So I would say that on the far right, Lord, maybe anything could exist. But that's the problem.
Well, the problem
we don't need
is
to operate in levels of extremity.
we shouldn't label people, period. I mean, based on what
Sometimes
you
they label themselves.
see, two people shouldn't label you as this or me as that, You
Right.
should get to know the person before you start judging them. And you really, you know what I mean? So.
Sometimes people label themselves. When you talk about, hey, we need to have cashless bonds, you're way out there to the left. You're crazy, in my opinion. When we need to set up tents so they can use clean needles to shoot heroin up in our streets, you're crazy. You labeled yourself. You didn't need
have misguided ideas.
Yeah, you didn't need me labeling you there.
Right.
You wouldn't. This comes in, says, again, this whole drag show is a distraction from Rick finally discovering Roku.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's great.
That's it.
He was excited. I mean, if you listened that day, Rick was like, Roku, I have all these channels now. And it is neat. I mean, we cut the cord, and I was like, wow, what is it? I mean, I don't know if I was that excited, but
he told me, he said, you're stupid, you'll never know how to do this. I've discovered Roku. I was like, oh, Rick, wait till I explain to you what Hulu is.
There's a generation of folks that just can't do it. I mean, my dad came over and watched our kids a couple weeks ago, and he's messed my TV where it comes on to some different, the live feed, and when I turn it on now, it goes, and it's that, that
old
snow.
School. Yeah.
And I was like, what did he do? I mean, it should go to the home screen. He was trying to figure it out. He just couldn't get it.
Couldn't get it.
Yeah. I love my dad, by the way.
He's
Pray for my dad.
star.
He had knee surgery today. I hope he's out. I got to check on him. He had it at 9:30. So
we're definitely going to do that. This comes in, says Billy Lee has nice legs. He should rock a skirt more often.
I mean, that skirt was short. He probably should have wore a longer skirt.
This comes in. This better not be an attack at me, because I am wearing my bird dog shorts today. It says ban Hoochie Daddy shorts.
Those are a little short.
No, they're short. First of all, my wife does my shopping. This comes in. It says Orion has the ice cream and manure problem, wouldn't you say? This comes in. It says gay men spread this fast. Don't shake hands. Drug-resistant stomach bug. CDC warns about Shigella outbreak. Is that how I'm saying that? It's a drug-resistant stomach bug amid rising cases. Oh, goodness.
Well.
I will say this.
You know how I feel about the CDC.
Well, but here's the one thing we can't agree with. Washing your hands is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
That should be bipartisan.
That's a bipartisan subject.
Sure, right?
I hope so.
Right? Maybe not. Surely we can agree. We can wash hands. Guys, we can wash hands. You don't even have to be gay. You can be straight. You can be whatever. What's that other stuff? Polyamorous? There's a lot of different words. I don't even know what some of them mean. You're listening to Walker Talks with Chuck and Tony. 731-800-8398 is our text line. 731-800-8398. Jackson IV and Wellness Clinic call-in number 731-265-6496.
News Talk West Tennessee includes NewsTalk965.com and NewsTalk 96.5 FM, covering local news, sports, and weather on an extensive network of platforms, including radio, social media streaming, digital TV, live stream, podcasts, all on your devices. Our local and live weekday lineup includes Daybreak with Greg Wood and G-Unit, Walker Talks with Chuck Walker and Julie Holt, The Dan Reeves Show with Gina Langley and Larry Newman, Dave Ramsey, Jackson-Madison County Schools Game of the Week, UT Vols Sports, and the Memphis Grizzlies. Local, live, News Talk West Tennessee and NewsTalk965.com. Hear it first on News Talk 96.5 FM. We might be talking about you.
Kick off the new year with new home upgrades from Hiller. This month, when you buy something you need for your home, we'll give you something you want. For a limited time, when you purchase a new whole home generator, new tankless water heater, or select new HVAC systems, we'll give you a free 55-inch TV, free Solo smokeless stove, or a free Nintendo Switch. Pick your prize when you upgrade essential systems for your home. Don't wait. Book online at happyhiller.com today.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Watch
Watch Tennessee Championship Wrestling every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. on NewsTalkWestTennessee.com.
See all the Memphis legends, Jerry the King Lawler, Dangerous Doug Gilbert, Superstar Bill Dundee, along with stars of today, the Mid-South Prodigy Bam Bam Bundy, MJ Davis, Mr. Marvelous Mike Mayo, Insane Dane, Big Gravy, The Rocket Josh Benson, Lucky P. Larson, and many, many more. You can also view TCW on the News Talk West Tennessee app for all your Apple and Android devices.
Catch Tennessee Championship Wrestling every Saturday at noon on NewsTalkWTN.com.
To protect his home and family from disaster, Steve used courage, wisdom, and his camera phone.
That should do it.
Way to go, Steve! By simply taking digital pictures of his family's important documents, Steve can always have them stored safely online, no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is WBFG 96.5 FM. 96.5 FM. Parker's Crossroads, Jackson.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Attorney
With over 80 million official songs, you'll never have to hear the same song twice. Unless you...
That's right. You won't have to hear the same song twice. My bad. Took a little bit longer there in the break. There was a line for the bathroom. I apologize. You are listening to Walker Talks here on 96.5 News Talk, WTN.com, News Talk of West Tennessee. Download our apps on News Talk. You can listen to us on TuneIn, News Talk 96.5 FM. You can watch us online. You can listen to us online. All of that is newstalkwtn.com. You can also find articles there. This comes in on our advanced rehab text line. It says, what's more white? Pure, uncut Colombian Bam Bam or Gary Deaton's hair? I don't know. I don't know. This comes in and says, misguided. We have had a 50-year war on drugs. Can you cite any of the success of? Yes, I can. Yes, I can cite some success. I just read an article that was posted on the Milan Mirror where the city police department in Milan just made the largest meth bust in the history of the town. Good on all of those officers for doing that. Yeah, the largest meth bust. Let's get that crap off the street.
I mean, I'll tell you the difference with meth versus 20 years ago is it used to be manufactured here. So our law enforcement has basically forced that out of the country. Now it's made in Mexico and brought here. So, I mean, we've made some impact. I mean, as a real estate professional, I certainly don't want to try to sell properties where meth has been made. It's kind of a problem.
You know, you remember back when I used to own a restoration company when I had certified restoration?
You did that for a little bit,
Yeah, we started a little sub company called Meth Busters. I went for a 2-week training class in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
But you don't even need to do that anymore.
When I got back.
Yeah.
The minute I got back. Because those houses, you'd have to have someone come out and they'd test the house. They'd test positive. It'd be condemned. It'd have to be cleaned. Usually, landlords own the properties, but they couldn't sell it. They couldn't do anything. It was condemned until it was cleaned. I thought, well, this is going to be a pretty good business to be in.
Right.
Because there weren't a lot of people around here doing it. The minute I got back, someone taught meth head how to make it a 2-liter bottle. So then they just started making it going down the road.
Yep.
And I lost my tail on that training class.
I've talked to our district attorney directly about it within the last year, and I said, "Is it a problem here anymore?" He said, "Not really." He said, "The problem
manufacturing
is it's coming from across our southern border."
Yeah,
so,
along with
fentanyl
and
marijuana,
all of that
cocaine,
other
all that stuff,
garbage that's there. Yes, bipartisan issues, getting meth off the street.
Oh, it's awful. Drano was in meth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sudafed, they didn't teach us how to make it, but they taught us what to look for, like when you're going in there just for safety precautions.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, so you see all the stuff in there, like, how could you make this? Because they said that most people they were making meth for themselves, they would sell what they had left over, but they were also the users. It was insane. Like, if you saw all of that stuff and you still put that in your body.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's not from the earth.
No, it's from the devil. This guy right here who you're listening to, this is Drake White. He is coming to Hub City Brewery in April. right here in Jackson, Tennessee.
Sweet.
Hub City Brewery. Drake White. I've heard a little bit of his music. It's the first song that pulled up. This one's called Mix 'Em With Whiskey.
You know, Chuck, it'd be cool to play some local artists.
I've
like make that a theme.
I've thought about that, and I will do that. That's a heck of an idea.
The local industry stepping up. We're going to have a recording studio here with we got a contract. Yeah, my good friend Jeremy Tubbs is a part of that with Lolo. Yeah.
What's it called? No Reverse? I believe that's the name of it. No Reverse record label.
So we're kind of branching off of what Nashville's been doing.
We don't like to brag. We're the new place to be. West Tennessee is no longer the West Virginia of the United States. West Tennessee is where it's at.
Yeah, it's happening. We just don't need that Nashville traffic.
I'm getting a helicopter. That's part of my contract. I've been waiting on Dan. Maybe that's where he's at now. Maybe he's getting my helicopter.
Hey,
I'm just going to land it on the roof, take off.
We'll have a discussion about that. Helicopter or private jet? Which would you rather have?
Well, I mean, I'm going to keep my private jet at the airport. Don't be silly, Tony. There's nowhere to land. Yeah, I mean... I've actually got people washing up. Big Rick is actually washing my private jet right now. Yeah, he's vacuuming the inside. I like to eat Cheetos when I'm at 30,000 feet.
Yep.
Cheetos and wasabi almonds.
Needs to take it over to Pepe.
Take it through Pepe's. That's actually what we do.
The suction over there is insane.
I know. That's what I can't. I've gone through there. I've got the monthly wash at Pepe's, but I haven't vacuumed my car yet, which Lord knows I need to. But I've heard it's great.
It's unreal.
That's great. And that's what you want.
I was afraid it was going to suck up my 5-year-old.
Depending on the day. You're listening to Walker Talks on 96.5 FM. News Talk West Tennessee. News Talk WTN.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Attorney General Merrick Garland is appearing before the Senate Judiciary Committee on Capitol Hill. Committee ranking member Senator Lindsey Graham asked Garland about designating Mexican drug cartels as terrorist organizations.
Would you oppose some of us trying to make them foreign terrorist organizations?
I wouldn't oppose it, but again, I want to point out there are diplomatic concerns. We need the assistance of Mexico in this.
Garland's testimony comes amid a series of controversies, including allegations the Justice Department has been weaponized under his tenure, targeting political foes of the administration. Also at townhall.com, Chicago voters have ousted incumbent Mayor Lori Lightfoot for a second term. Candidates Paul Vallis and Brandon Johnson will meet in a runoff to succeed her. Vallis, a former school CEO that's backed by the police union. Johnson is a former teacher and county commissioner endorsed by the Chicago Teachers Union. They advanced to the April 4th runoff after none of the 9 candidates managed to secure more than 50% of the vote to win outright. Fewer higher-ranking Republicans are attending this year's CPAC event than in the past. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
For many years, the Conservative Political Action Conference attracted top-tier GOP leaders, but this week's event near Washington will feature fewer of them. Among the no-shows are the top 2 congressional Republicans, Mitch McConnell and Kevin McCarthy, and likely 2024 presidential candidates Mike Pence and Ron DeSantis. However, Donald Trump and Nikki Haley are scheduled to address the conference. Greg Clugston, the White House.
But Wall Street stocks are now mixed. The Dow ahead 72 points, but the Nasdaq is down 41. More at townhall.com.
We're entering a time of increasing hostility against people of faith, a time when Christians are going to be tested on a moral and physical and financial basis, unlike any other time in our lifetime. I'm Lance Wallnau, Christian author, evangelical leader, here to remind you that you have to take action to protect and steward what God has given you. For example, record high inflation is going to continue to eat away at the dollar, and the savings of your retirement account is in danger. Fortunately, God does provide a way. To protect your retirement, I recommend diversifying your 401k or IRA out of paper and into physical gold. And the best way to do that is with a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. Now, to see how it works, just text the word FAITH to 989898. That'll give you access to a free info kit on gold IRAs. There are no strings attached, so text FAITH, F-A-I-T-H, to 989898 right now, and I pray your family is blessed with peace of mind because you took action.
Russia's leader receiving assistance from an unusual source in his war against Ukraine. We have the latest from the Media Line's Felice Friedson.
Russian President Putin is reportedly paying Lebanese Palestinian stipends to fight in Ukraine. A Lebanese security source told the Media Line that recruitment to the Russian army was being carried out by individuals associated with the Palestinian embassy. The mercenaries are reportedly residents of Ain al-Khalwa, Lebanon's largest Palestinian refugee camp, and members of the Fatah faction headed by Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas and the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine. Supervising the Russian recruitment effort is Hezbollah, the Iranian terrorist organization. Also sought by Hezbollah, recruiters for service in Ukraine are drone operators and urban warfare experts. I'm Felice Friedson, Town Hall News, Jerusalem.
News and analysis at themedialine.org and townhall.com. The indictments in the murder of a pastor.
A 15-year-old boy and a 21-year-old man have been indicted in the carjacking and fatal shooting of a prominent United Methodist Church leader in Memphis, Tennessee. The Shelby County District Attorney's Office said the two were each indicted on charges of first-degree murder and especially aggravated robbery in the July 2022 death of the Reverend Artura Eason Williams. Eason Williams was found in her driveway with gunshot wounds July 18th of that year. She died at a hospital. Police say video footage showed that the pastor was ordered out of her car and then shot before her car was taken. Keith Peters reporting.
The California Parole Board voting in 2021 to free Robert F. Kennedy's assassin, but the decision was overturned by the governor. Sirhan Sirhan once again appears before the board at a hearing in San Diego County to seek approval of his release. More on these stories at townhall.com. I'm John Scott.
Welcome to Hampton Inn & Suites of Jackson. Make yourself at home in any of the 83 rooms or suites. Hampton Inn & Suites exit 83 at I-40 is minutes away from all Jackson destinations like the West Tennessee Healthcare Sportsplex, Casey Jones Village, Jackson Madison County General Hospital, and many industrial complexes. Enjoy free Wi-Fi, free parking, and free hot breakfast. Also a 24-hour fitness and business center. Welcome to West Tennessee. Make your reservations now by calling direct at 731-427-6100 or visit hampton.com.
Hey, this is Chuck Walker with Southeastern Termite and Pest Control. We recently celebrated our 20th year in business here in West Tennessee. That's 2 decades of growth for us. We've added to our work family, moved locations a few times, seen our coworkers have kids and grandkids. We've even seen our clients who were kids when we started at their parents' house now call us to take care of their homes. Lots of things change over 20 years, but here's what hasn't. We can still be reached 24 hours a day. We still provide quality, guaranteed termite and pest control service for all of West Tennessee. We still are the go-to company for real estate closing letters. We still provide quality fungus treatments and affordable moisture barriers. We still take care of your bed bugs, brown recluse, and every other pest problem you could have. If you own a home, you need termite protection. And the biggest thing we've learned in 20 years, we need you. Give us a call 24 hours a day for a different kind of experience from a service company. Southeastern, 660-1052. That's Southeastern, 660-1052.
Hi, I'm Terica Smith, a local attorney and proud JMCSS graduate, but I'm also a JMCSS parent. We chose Jackson Madison County Schools for educational options that are innovative and challenging. Whether it's the Academic Academy at Northeast or early college and career opportunities at JCM Early College High, JMCSS offers classes and programs that will prepare my son for college and beyond. Plus, JMCSS is a Level 5 district and tuition free. It just makes sense.
Hi, I'm Greg Hammond, Chief of Public Information for the Jackson-Madison County School System. With an increased focus in the fine arts, athletics, workforce development, and early career opportunities for students, there's never been a better time to choose us. Tuition-free, Jackson-Madison County Schools. Visit jmcss.org today to schedule a tour or call 731-345-7011.
Sing it, Tony. You like one of Bob Dylan's children as well.
You know, the best
You and
concert I
Jacob
ever
Dylan pretty much the
saw
same guy.
was Bob Dylan.
Really?
At the Hump in Stark, Vegas.
Really?
Seriously.
How many years ago was that?
97. The man
97.
busted out in a suit with tails on the backside, electric guitar, had a little band behind him, and played like he was 23. He was probably 63 then.
Yeah, I've heard now it's tough. Didn't he play in Jackson? Like maybe he and Willie Nelson or something?
Did.
And I heard he's not, but he's
Shortly
elderly.
after that, I
He's
saw him
older.
with the Black Crows in K-Town,
Oh
Knoxville.
my gosh.
And it was more like acoustic guitar,
little bit
harmonica.
Kind of did his thing. Still good though?
I mean, it was different. It was just, it was more like I'm just kind of here.
I love Bob Dylan.
But I mean, Bob Dylan, along with Carl Perkins, and they're just legends in the music industry.
Right. If they give you, I mean, even if it's not the best, who cares? I say who cares? I mean, you're seeing a living legend. It's like bumping into Kareem Abdul-Jabbar today. Like maybe you can beat him one-on-one, maybe you can't.
Yeah.
But you're still hanging out with a legend.
If I can recall, I can thank my friend Jon Stewart for dragging me to that. Because he was
the guy that used to be from The Daily Show?
No, not that Jon
different
Stewart.
one?
He's an attorney who used to be here. His wife was on the school board, Shannon Stewart. At one point.
Okay. We got Tony. And look, I know you got to go in a second, Tony. He's offended me, so I'm throwing him out of the... No,
Man,
I'm just kidding.
I got to take care of my mother-in-law.
I understand.
All you gents out there, take care of your mother-in-law.
Take care of your mother-in-law. That is sage advice. Sage advice has definitely got to make it look easier. Thank you for hanging out today,
Hey, man, it's been great.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And doing radio with somebody, because you and I have known each other for years and been friends for years, but you don't always have like a relationship.
That's right.
Like as much as I like Dan Reeves, I swear to you, I'd rather put glass in my eye than do radio with him. So it doesn't always work. It doesn't always work doing radio with somebody, but I enjoy doing radio with you, Tony. So you're always welcome in here. I know the fans out there love Tuesdays with Tony, our Catholic consigliere.
Yep.
You got an extra day of Tony this week.
That's right. Now, remember, next week, I'm giving away that TV.
Oh.
So share that post, like
the post.
Walker Talks, like Tony Niehoff Realtor Remax, and we're going to do a trivia question next Tuesday, and it's going to be sports related.
Another sports related.
So I haven't figured it out yet, but we got the NCAA tournament coming up, March Madness. The SEC men's tournament's coming up soon. The women's tournament's going on this week.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Is South Carolina still the team to beat?
South Carolina is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So Kentucky's on a roll, my alma mater. Poor Tennessee, their point guard went down with an injury yesterday.
Yeah.
Ziegler is his name, I think. Is that right? I forgot.
I have no idea.
He's their point guard, yeah. Tennessee fans know him, but we'll figure it out. We'll have a good trivia question. It won't be easy, but it won't be impossible.
Ooh, there you go. Little teaser for next week. Giving away a big screen here on Walker Talks. This comes in. You gone, buddy?
I'm gone, buddy.
All right, be good. I'll see you next week, Tony.
Take care, guys.
This comes in. Advanced Rehab text line 731-800-8398. Says, speaking of hair, Scott Conger has the best looking hair of all the other mayoral candidates. Whether you like it or not, this will be the deciding factor in the race. Is this where we are? Are we voting on hair? I mean, maybe we are voting on hair. I've not seen all the candidates' hair, so I cannot endorse this comment on the program. I don't know who has the best hair. I don't even know what I'm looking for when it comes to hair on mayoral candidates. Could we have a bald candidate? Would we vote for them? I don't know. Could I vote for them? I still don't know. Rudy Giuliani's, he's bald, right? He does like that comb over from his ear. I'm trying to think like in 9/11. I know he's bald now, but back in the day, I don't know if it was. This comes in our advanced rehab text line, 731-800-8398, 731-800-8398. Says, I saw Bob Dylan in 2005 at the Hoover Met. Setup sucked, and so did the sound. I left early to go get drunk in Mountain Brook. I've never seen Bob Dylan. I love Bob Dylan. I absolutely love Bob Dylan. I've never seen him in concert. But I don't think I would really go. I mean, if he comes to the Amp, probably, I guess I'll go. But I'm not going to go seek out Bob Dylan. I'm not going to go seek out a lot of people, though. I think I've left that point in my life of where I go seek out music. We've had a really busy show today. We appreciate all you guys out there. We got a little bit, well, we got plenty of time left. We got more than 45 minutes. We got 48 minutes left in this program. If you want to get in with us, Jackson IV and Wellness Clinic call-in number, 731-265-6496, 731-265-6496. Our advanced rehab text line, 731-800-8398. I don't know. I've reached out to Brandon Shields. He was going to try to come in. Wednesdays is usually the day Brandon comes on with us, but there are some county commission meetings and stuff like that. So if he can pop in with us, he will. This is an article, though, that we were looking at just a few minutes ago on the JacksonPost.news. JacksonPost.news says Pope School hits planning obstacles. Pope Elementary School is scheduled to open for classes in August of 2025. So not next school year, but the year after. And right now, just a whole bunch of grass over there. You can see where, it's going to be built. The article goes on to say that opening date is in serious jeopardy because the building is still in the planning and design stages. Jackson-Madison County School leadership met with Henson Construction, the company hired to build the school. And what they're discussing, what the problem is right now, is its planned location on Ashport between the intersection with Pleasant Plains Road and Old Humboldt Road. The recommendations from the BZA and the city of Jackson include a list of items that include a roundabout at the intersection with Pleasant Plains, a right turn lane on Ashport at the intersection with Old Humboldt, widening of Ashport to include a turn lane in front of the school, widening of Old Humboldt to include a turn lane onto Ashport, and extending the right turn lane on Old Humboldt at the Highway 45 bypass all the way to the frontage road where the Girl Scout office building is. These recommendations cause two major issues with the schedule, finances, and deadlines. Of everything that's been budgeted for this project, $500,000 was budgeted for off-site improvements, said Kerry Henson, owner of the construction company. That much would possibly cover the widening of Ashport, but not a lot more. The roundabout was suggested by the city since it's a cheaper option than installing a stoplight in that location, which will also include a yet-to-be-built road approaching from the north as local developer Jerry Winberry bought the tract of land next to the school and plans on a 50-home development for that area. Roundabout in downtown Jackson at the intersection of North Highland and Dedrick Street cost about $1.2 million to construct when former Mayor Jerry Gist had it built in conjunction with the Jackson Walk development nearby. During a meeting of the JMCSS Board's Capital Committee on Wednesday, school board members asked questions of Henson, Mayor Scott Conger, and City Planner Stan Pilot about possible options to mitigate cost and ease the construction school transfer process. We simply can't afford it because the money isn't there, said board member Harvey Walden, and we're hoping the city or JEA or anyone else can help out with that. Who in the world would the anyone else be? Maybe you out there? Maybe have a car wash? Says board member Sherry Franks, who has a child at Pope, asked about the necessity of widening the roads of Old Humboldt and Ashport. She said, you're taking out an important part of the parking lot where drop-off and pickup happens for kindergarten and first grade in the current building. So is there any way that part can wait until the new school before that happens, Frank asked. When Pilot stopped short of saying there's no way, while he did stop short of saying there's no way, he did say that he couldn't see a way at this point. If we wait to do that portion of the project, then we're moving the same problem to a new building, Pilot said, and zoning and development regulations say we can't do that part. As far as the financial cost, Jackson City Mayor Scott Conger did offer one little bit of hope for the school board. He said, as far as I'm concerned, the city will do what we can to work with you. Conger said, to which multiple board members were grateful. We want to be a good partner, but we're just now coming into the conversation. But now that we're here in the conversation, we're telling you we'll work with you. And if that means instead of paying all of it in 1 year, but instead paying it over the course of 3 to 5 years to make it work in your budget, that's something we can do. There's still the issue of timing. While building the building, widening the roads, installing the roundabout, and infrastructure will take their time, and that time is manageable, the city has to procure right of way from property owners that touch all of these areas. Without really looking at it, we're probably looking at 12 to 15 property owners these areas touch, Compton said. How long could that take? Conger referenced the city's current project of the Greenway from Bemis to downtown, having to get property access for that. That project has been going on for 5 years now, Conger said. Madison County Deputy Terica Smith used her experience with her law background to help everyone in the meeting understand that process. The property owners see an opportunity to make some money, so it's a matter of how long the negotiations take with each one, Smith said. So everyone left the meeting with plans of beginning the construction process later this year and hoping to open in 2025. We got plenty of work to do to make it happen, Walden said. That's an article on the JacksonPost.news. Our good friend Brandon Shields wrote that. You can check it out. I'm afraid that it's not going to be ready by 2025. But what do I know? This comes in our advanced rehab text line, 731-800-8398, 731-800-8398. Our call-in phone number, 731-265-6496. This comes in, it says Brandon Shields is at the Madison County budget meeting. It's lit. Well, I mean, if he's at the budget meeting and it's lit, I don't blame him. I don't know what it would be lit about, but we'll find out tomorrow. We'll definitely reach out to Brandon again. This comes in our advanced rehab text line, 731-800-8398. Says you can't keep drugs out of jails or prisons. How and why do we try to prohibit it in a free, open society? You talking about big government? Look at the results. Jails full and lives ruined. Let's do the least harm we can to these people. Incarceration doesn't seem to be doing what it was supposed to do. Deter use and make drugs more costly. Nothing could be further from the truth. Help me understand that better. Are we saying that we tell drug dealer to charge more for the product? Is that what you're saying? I may have missed something there. I've read a lot of text today. You know how it is when I read sometimes. I make a mistake. You're listening to Walker Talks. News Talk West Tennessee, newstalkwtn.com, 96.5 FM. Call in number 731-265-6496. Advanced Rehab text line 731-800-8398.
Kick off the new year with new home upgrades from Hiller. This month, when you buy something you need for your home, we'll give you something you want. For a limited time, when you purchase a new whole home generator, new tankless water heater, or select new HVAC systems, we'll give you a free 55-inch TV, free Solo smokeless stove, or a free Nintendo Switch. Pick your prize when you upgrade essential systems for your home. Don't wait. Book online at happyhiller.com today.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Watch Catch Tennessee Championship Wrestling every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. on NewsTalkWestTennessee.com.
See all the Memphis legends: Jerry the King Lawler, Dangerous Doug Gilbert, Superstar Bill Dundee, along with stars of today: the Mid-South Prodigy Bam Bam Bundy, MJ Davis, Mr. Marvelous Mike Mayo, Insane Dane, Big Gravy, The Rocket Josh Benson, Lucky P. Larson, and many, many more. You can also view TCW on the News Talk West Tennessee app for all your Apple and Android devices.
Catch Tennessee Championship Wrestling every Saturday at noon on NewsTalkWTN.com.
Hi, my name's Dawn. I have been taking BioT at Advanced Medical. My moods are better. I sleep well. My husband has complimented me on the mood swings that are no longer affecting our marriage.
Are these problems affecting your work, your relationships, and your quality of life? You'll be happy to know there's an exciting, natural solution available called BioT. BioT uses a natural way for men and women to correct these problems by safely and accurately balancing hormone levels without the use of synthetic injections or cream.
I got blood work done, and they identified what hormones were out of balance. They gave me the bioidentical hormone pellets through BioT, and now I have more energy, no more brain fog, I'm sleeping better, and I feel like my old self again. I would recommend Advanced Rehab and Medical and their BioT program to anyone suffering with symptoms like mine. It's been life-changing.
To book your appointment, call 731-462-8580. That's 731-462-8580.
If a natural disaster comes knocking, how prepared is your family? You can't just close the door on earthquakes, floods, or hurricanes and hope they go away. That's why it's important to make a plan now. Ready.gov/plan has the tools and tips you need to prepare your family for an emergency. So if disaster shows up at your doorstep, you'll be ready. Visit ready.gov/plan and make a plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
The Rocket is coming to Jackson April 13th, Meridian Baptist Church. Roger Clemens will be the guest at the 4th annual benefit to the Trey Lindsay Scholarship. Roger Clemens has an unprecedented 7 Cy Young Awards, 354 wins, and 4,672 strikeouts. Clemens' career spanned 24 years with the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Blue Jays, and Astros. The 11-time All-Star, winning 2 World Series with the New York Yankees. Silent auction is huge with sports celebrity memorabilia along with hunts, duck calls, vacation packages, restaurant packages, and more. Follow posts on Facebook mentioning items leading up to the event. Call 731-217-7187, 731-217-7187 for table sponsor or ticket information. Brought to you by Work Care Resources and News Talk 96.5 FM and NewsTalkWTN.com.
Take us with you wherever you go. Download our free apps for Apple and Android. Visit NewsTalkWTN.com. Then click to download.
You could cut ties with all the lies that you've been living in. And if you do not want to see me again, I would understand.
Welcome back into Walker Talks here on a really nice and warm Wednesday. Hoping to get up to 78. It was 79, but they've lowered it a degree. I don't know if we're going to make it there. We've got some rain coming, thunderstorms coming tomorrow. Larry Newman is on special assignment right now. He's at weather school. They're doing all the physical training, the things that you could think about, you know, rope climbing, belly crawls under ropes. Really anything to do with a rope. That's what they're doing now. But Larry will be in at 3 o'clock on the Dan Reeves Show. Larry and Gina. He'll have all the latest on the weather situation. If you want to get in with us, 731-800-8398 is our advanced rehab text line. Text this program, 731-800-8398. Our Jackson IV and Wellness Clinic call-in number, 731-265-6496. Coming to these text messages here. This one comes in. How's our new county mayor doing? Is he sharing a lawyer with Deaton? I guess Jay Bush, is that the county lawyer? I mean, I know he's the county commission's lawyer. I'm assuming he's the county lawyer for the mayor. I don't know. I'm still tore up that we had to leave the county commission meeting because of attorney-client privilege. Who knew that was a thing? Who knew that we weren't the clients as taxpayers? Kind of assumed that we were the clients. Maybe not. Guess it's just the commissioners. Tony's left. I guess that's normal. It just doesn't seem right to me. But, what do I know? This comes in our advanced rehab text line, 731-800-8398. Says, why do we think why do we think we have the 21st Amendment? As a matter of fact, it's been the only amendment to repeal a previous amendment. I'm going to Google what I don't know it off the top of my head. Is that prohibition on liquor? Would be my first guess. Let me pull this up here. Hear me type in. 21st Amendment, the transportation of or importation into any state, territory, or possession of the United States for delivery or use therein of intoxicating liquors in violation of the laws thereof is hereby prohibited. All right, so there's your 21st Amendment for you. This comes in on our advanced rehab text line, 731-800-8398. Says, yes, Jay is the county attorney for all of the county. All right, so yeah, that covers the mayor's office as well. All right, well, there we go. We talked a lot about this drag bill, and I know you're probably getting tired of it. I'm getting tired of talking about it. I hate defending a position I don't necessarily agree with. That's not the most fun thing to do. I just think we need to be really, really careful with what else this could lead to. And if you're out there and you're saying to yourself, like I've said to myself, I'm not going to take my kids to a drag show. Okay, cool. I'm totally rolling with you on that. I haven't either, and I'm not. But how much government involvement do we need for the safety of our children? Would there have been anything that would have made you take your kids to a drag show? The next question is, are all drag shows sexual in nature? I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know. The pictures that I saw on the flyer, they were all, dressed in, I don't know, you call them muumuu dresses? I don't know. They didn't look to be sexual, but I don't know. I don't know. But what I do know is I don't want less freedom and more government. Also don't like when government, and I think this happens on both sides. I think it happens on the right sometimes, unfortunately, and I know it happens on the left, where they placate and they pander to a base, to where they give us something to excite us, to get us really fired up about, and they miss out on all these other problems that are out there. All these other things that really matter. I mean, we've spent 4 or 5 days on this show, and I can't tell you how many other shows. I mean, this is making, news over in England. What's happened here is making news over in England. We spent all this time talking about we're not going to allow kids going to a drag show. Seems to be pretty simple. 18 and up in a drag show, period, not in a public place. End of bill, end of discussion. Where the waters get muddy is when people ask the questions, what happens hypothetically if someone's dressed in drag like in a parade? Is that illegal? Well, they say no, unless they're doing something sexual. Well, what's sexual to one person? Is it just the dress? Can it be a long dress but not a skirt? Can it be a halter top? Does it need to cover the belly? I mean, it can go a lot of different ways. I don't know. I think we can make the best decisions for our kids and honestly for ourselves. But wasn't that the toughest part when you were out there and you were growing up? It was like learning from your mistakes, was failing a little bit. But so aren't those also the best lessons in life? Don't we want that? Don't we want that responsibility to hold ourselves accountable? To be responsible for our own families? Is this important? And is every gay pride festival, every drag show, every person who dresses in drag, every homosexual, is that what they're doing? Are they, am I missing something here? Are they coming after the kids? Is that it? Is that the whole plan? Is to come after children all the time? Because there's been bad things that have happened to children. Been bad things to happen to them and things that we hold in high regard. Little leagues, sports, scouting, churches, schools, things that we hold in esteem. And we should, by the way. All of those things. See, my fear is it's easy to get fired up sometimes about things we don't understand. I know I'm guilty of it. I think it sounds awful. When people hurt kids as a parent or just as a citizen out there, that upsets you. It breaks your heart. Some of the saddest photos I see about what's going on in Ukraine with Russia's invasion of Ukraine. You think about all of the children now who are going to be orphans. What's going to happen to them? How's their life going to go from here on out? You think about people who hurt children in a very bad way. Do you think about what the rest of their life is? We had Julia Stone on a few weeks ago with the Scarlet Rope Project, and she said, a lot of the women that get trapped. We're coming to these phone calls here. Just hold for a second. I'm going to finish this thought. A lot of these women that get trapped in the cycle, the abuse was started somewhere, usually by a family member or a relationship early on before they were ever 18, 13, 14, 15 years old. See, there's bad stuff everywhere. Are we doing everything we can to protect it? That's my question. How much of your right do you want to give to a governmental institution? How much of it? Now, again, if a drag show is 18 and up and that's the end of it, that's fine. That's fine. I just think that there's a problem because what happens if there's something next? What happens if there's the next thing? My kid, both my boys, the stepson too, they play travel baseball. My youngest still does. There are games on Sundays. What are we going to do? Hypothetically, I've never even heard this subject broached. What would we do collectively, as a community, as a state, if someone brought legislation and they said, you know what, we don't need to have these sports being played on Sundays or Wednesdays. We don't need to have public parks open on these days because those days are normally reserved as the Lord's Day for worshiping. I know some people who don't play travel sports on those days, on Sundays and Wednesdays. They don't play travel sports at all, be it baseball or basketball, softball, soccer, tennis, whatever, competitive swim, cheer, because a lot of these events wrap up on a Sunday. They don't do that, but that's their choice to not allow their kid to do that. What would we do then if they decided not to do that? What if, hypothetically, because test scores statewide are still not where we want them, they're improving in the state of Tennessee, and that's a great thing. But collectively, we're not in the top 10 of education in the United States. What if the government decides, you know what, guys? We know a lot of students have jobs after school. We don't think that should happen anymore. We don't want our young people to not be able to study enough So now we don't have young people working. See, it sounds crazy to say out loud. Like, that's not going to happen, Chuck. That's not going to happen. Is it? Could it? Will it? Shouldn't those be your choices as parents? Shouldn't that be your responsibility? Is the one who decides your house, who takes care of your home? Shouldn't that be you making those decisions? So just my thoughts. I'm not a big believer that government is the answer. I think a lot of times government's the problem. But it's a problem we can't really do anything about. I'm just one dude doing a radio show, 10 to 1, station in West Tennessee. I can't make a difference. We can, though. If you're out there and you think, you know what? I want to be in charge of my life. I want to be free. Half the money, if you pay taxes, half of it goes in one way or the other. Half of it goes to the government. Sales tax, federal income tax, Social Security tax, Medicare, Medicaid. You're paying a large percentage of what you make, and then anything you buy, you're being taxed on that. And then if you're lucky enough to own a business, guess what? You got to use tax on that. It's total garbage. It's total garbage. Bought a desk 18 years ago. Still paying tax on it every single year. What we do to small businesses is unbelievable. If you don't own a business, you probably don't know about that. Between the city and the county, it cost us a couple $1,000s a year to pay taxes on stuff that we bought 15 years ago. Say that out loud a couple of times. Are we sure that we want more involvement in our homes with our government? We'll say good afternoon and welcome in.
All this talk about the gay stuff today, I thought I might bring up an interesting thing, the long easy.
I'm sorry, say that again?
The long easy.
Okay, what is that?
You sent me a picture of it the other night.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry, I'd forgotten what the airplane was. Okay.
That's what John Denver got killed in.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know. It's a cool looking plane. I would never get in it. And what Bull's talking about was this video I found, and the guy I think flew from like Indiana to Orlando in this plane that looks like if you folded it up enough times, you could carry it like a briefcase.
Yeah, the guy that made that plane also made a rocket assist plane that went up, getting how many miles up, but this was like 15 years ago. And they were saying that you could go where there's no gravity. And then they showed the guy that flew the plane on up there. It starts off on a big plane, and they drop it off like a missile, and then it takes off and flies on up higher, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they had the guy falling back to the earth with M&Ms, and they were just, hanging around. And people were saying that means no gravity, no gravity. And I said, no, that is not what that means. I said, the thing is falling back to earth, and those M&Ms are falling as fast as that plane is.
Right.
And they said, no, you go high up enough, there's no gravity. I said, that is not right. And I was arguing with this guy about it over and over and over. And I said, look, ask the smartest person you know if I'm not right. That there's gravity everywhere. You can't get away from it.
And that guy called me.
And he said, I am the smartest person I know.
That had to really get you upset.
Well, I mean, I knew it was Bill Wade. That's it. Said, look,
he was definitely the smartest person he knew. I love Bill.
He was. I said, Bill, why are they going 17,500 miles an hour? Why are they doing that? And he says, oh, you may have it then. He hadn't thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
I said, they're going that fast to equal the amount of force of gravity pulling them. They got to go that fast to stay in orbit. But I said, this boy's doing, he's just going straight up and then falling right back straight down. He's never in a no gravity thing. And those guys that did it last year.
Mm-hmm. Are you talking about like the billionaires that kept going into space, like Musk and Richard Branson and all them? Yeah.
you got to go up 63 miles to be called an astronaut. There's still atmosphere that high, but if you go that high, they say you're out of most of the atmosphere, and you're an astronaut. And I mean, we was watching it on TV, and I heard Seabass say that they were in the no gravity zone. I said, that's not right. I said, Seabass, look at the review of it.
Mm-hmm.
They're falling back down 1,100 miles an hour. They're falling that fast. They're not in a no gravity thing. They're being, gravity is what's pulling them back. But what you hear is not really a definition of what you're being told. People learn stuff from them, and it stays with them for the rest of their life. And that it shows up when you get older on different topics. I mean, if a 9-year-old kid gets baptized, that's before he's even interested in girls. And then if he really believes he's a Christian and saved and supposed to live good, how can he ever do anything with a girl and not be sinning? And I'm like, wait until you're 30 to get saved and everything.
Well, but
that's just the way
that happens with people, right? They'll get baptized. Like, and this is all different religions and stuff, or different faiths, different denominations. Like, some will christen when a child is born, and the child can get baptized later. I know people who have gone back and gotten rebaptized into their 30s and 40s, because they were, what they considered to be baptized young. But I mean, isn't that like a personal thing as far as that goes? I mean,
well, I mean, it's just the seed that gets planted in your mind when you're a kid, blossoms out into something, and it goes different directions for different people. I mean, it's like this. Poor boys have a different way of looking at life than rich boys.
Well, of course.
Pretty girls have a different way of looking and living life than ugly girls.
Of course.
Nobody gets the same road to hoe. So you're going to have different outlooks.
Right, and different challenges. Yeah, we agree with that. That's part of what human existence is.
But if everybody got baptized at 9 and were really living the right way, that would stop the reproduction. It would be over.
Well, no,
you
people
never
still
feel
get
like
married. There are actually people
wrong.
who are married having children. I hate to break that to you, but that does exist.
What I'm saying is, if you're not supposed to have unclean thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
you're supposed to live the high and mighty and be a Christian, where all you're thinking about is worshiping and worshiping and worshiping. You're not going to be, your attention's not going to go to the girls wearing string bikinis. It would never get that far. If that makes any sense, it probably don't. But.
Well, I mean, I think that you're asking humans to be perfect, which is, it also says in the Bible that all men fall short of the glory. It says that in there. Bull, this comes in. This is a really good point. Comes on our advanced rehab text line, 731-800-8398, 731-800-8398. It says you should read about the human trafficking with Ukrainian refugee women and children that's going on, plus the black market organ harvesting of dead soldiers. War is scary.
Look up where the Russian mafia sends girls that they kidnap and put into the sex trade. The first country they send them to is Israel.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Google, and that Dr. Page, I think it's Dr. Page that's from Israel.
Well, he's
he
from
knows all
here.
about
He has dual citizenship, but yeah, he's from here.
Yeah. I thought I had something interesting to tell him about 10 years ago when I found out about it. And he says, I know all about that. He thinks it's kind of phony for us to be giving money to Israel and act like they're religiously on Mount Rushmore.
Well,
and they're above us.
And I've heard him say too that what the average Israeli citizen, not him, but what the average person from Israel who's never been to America or anything like that, what they really think about America would shock us.
Yeah, well, it's like this. When a person is born in America, like if he's a black person, he's got a lot of Caucasian in him or American Indian. They're mixed.
Mm-hmm.
When they go back to Africa, they don't like them. They're too white. Unless I watch a lot of that. What's his name? Something Gates. What was his name? It's two names, and his last name's Gates. He's a Harvard professor, and he got arrested for breaking into his house.
Oh Lord, no, I don't know what you're talking about.
He drank beer with President Obama and police officer that arrested him.
I remember when that happened. Yeah, they called it the beer summit. Yeah, I remember.
All right, that guy there tells how stuff is, and if you're a black person in America and you have a lot of money and you go back to a village where they think your DNA came from 200 or 300 years ago, as soon as they get there, guess what the people ask them for? Money.
Yeah.
Everybody over there is poor. And if you go back to where you think a lot of your kinfolks made according to the DNA test, they want your money, so then it makes people here not want to go home or go back over there and visit. Because those people don't care nothing about being kin. They want money. They're starving.
Mm-hmm.
They're living in hell. And they see us as, being the people that have New York City and Superman and Super Bowls.
Yeah, I mean, and I've never done. Have you ever done one of those ancestral, the 23andMe or whatever the thing is, to trace back your origins of exactly how many different ethnicities or parts of the world you're mixed with?
There's two reasons I don't want to do it. Because it's ridiculous.
Okay.
You're having to rely on the fact that the women in your family never cheated with the mailman. And see,
oh, God.
What's that head? She's #1 movie star back in the 80s and 90s. What is her name?
Julia Roberts?
Julia Roberts. See, she's not a Roberts. They did DNA test on her, and she's not a Roberts because they tested the genes of people that should have been her cousins, and she doesn't have their genetics.
Mm-hmm.
She's somebody else. And
so, are you afraid you wouldn't be a bull? You afraid you wouldn't be a bull?
Well, women cheat.
Well, so do men. So do men. Come on.
I know it, but it's one thing. It's one thing to raise a baby and have a husband think that's his kid,
right?
Versus just being a woman that's never married and sleeping with everybody. The other reason I don't put nothing into it. The reason they have that is it's for the Mormon Church. The Mormon Church gets the identity of everybody that's ever lived on the planet. But then all these research things,
mm-hmm.
and then they have a thing where they're praying all the time, and they convert people who die into Mormons. So we're actually standing on planet Mormon right now. They was even converting Jews that died in the Holocaust.
Are you afraid you're going to be a Mormon, bull? I'll keep you safe. I know you run the head of my security, but I'll keep you safe. You're not going to be a Mormon.
Just telling you that there's always a deeper reason for something existing other than what it's advertised to be. The Mormons had to apologize to the Jews for making it look like the dead Jews were Mormons. They had to apologize for it. I'm not.
Did the apology work? I mean, was everybody good after the apology?
Well, see, that's the other thing. Nothing matters. No matter what you do, nothing matters. Apologies mean nothing.
Well,
they
come
mean
on.
nothing.
There's things that matter.
It's like if the DNA test says somebody else is the daddy, you're off the hook.
This has turned into Maury Povich and Jerry Springer. You're off the hook. Oh, my Lord. My Lord.
But anyway, that's why I don't do the DNA test. Because the women have been cheating for the last million years, just like men. There's no way you can know who you're. I mean, Julia Roberts proves that.
Yeah.
Just look up Julia Roberts. She's not a Roberts.
If you knew my family, I'd be fine being a part of another family. Hell, I mean, I should probably do it myself. I may be in line for a payout. I may be part of some rich family out there swapped up 42 years ago. Maybe that's my deal.
It's Henry Louis Gates. I watched him for years.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one black person that they tested the DNA on that was 100% black out of all the people they did.
But what does that even mean, though? 100% black. I don't even know what that means. 100%. I don't even know what that means. Because, I mean, if you're a Caucasian out there, your roots are going to go back to somewhere in Europe, right?
Yeah.
Some Anglo-Saxons walking around. Yeah. Here we go, the Neanderthals. Bull, I got to get one more break in before we sign off. I love you, brother. Have a great day.
Adios.
Adios. That's Bull. I knew it was getting deep when we brought out the Neanderthals. You're listening to Walker Talks on News Talk WTN 96.5 FM.
News Talk West Tennessee includes NewsTalk965.com and NewsTalk 96.5 FM, covering local news, sports, and weather on an extensive network of platforms, including radio, social media streaming, digital TV, live stream, podcasts, all on your devices. Our local and live weekday lineup includes Daybreak with Greg Wood and G-Unit, Walker Talks with Chuck Walker and Julie Holt, The Dan Reeves Show with Gina Langley and Larry Newman, Dave Ramsey, Jackson-Madison County Schools Game of the Week, UT Vols Sports, and the Memphis Grizzlies. Local, live, News Talk West Tennessee and NewsTalk965.com. Hear it first on News Talk 96.5 FM. We might be talking about you.
Is your office or home office in need of a new printer, copier, fax, or multifunction machine? Do you need business cards, envelopes, or office supplies? Are you looking to upgrade to new office furniture? Office World Incorporated in Trenton has been serving all of the Gibson County and the West Tennessee area for over 65 years. Office World is a franchise partner of OfficeZilla. Call today, 731-855-9131, or email officeworldinc@gmail.com.
Looking to add a little spice to your love life?
Nothing adds spice like gunpowder.
Jackson's only indoor shooting range, date night at the range. Here's what you lovebirds get: a shooting lane for two targets, 100 rounds of ammo, eye and ear protection, and a $30 gift certificate to Texas Roadhouse. All for just $99.99.
Now that's firepower.
Perfect for a gift card from the range. The Range, 2310 North Highland Avenue in Jackson.
Go to therange.com.
My name is Steven and I'm 41 years old. I started having problems with my weight, my focus, my energy all around. I spent thousands of dollars a year on supplements trying to get my weight down, and it never worked.
Are these problems affecting your work, your relationships, and your quality of life? You'll be happy to know there is an exciting natural solution available called BioT. BioT uses a natural way for men and women to correct these problems by safely and accurately balancing hormone levels without the use of synthetic injections or cream.
So I got the treatment, and it has been the best decision of my life. I feel great. I'm losing weight. I have more energy. I'm getting stronger in the gym, and I can focus so much better. And I notice that I also sleep better, and I'm always in a good mood. And I believe it's all because of the BioT treatment.
To schedule an appointment to find out if BioTE is right for you, call 731-462-3596. That's 731-462-3596.
Welcome back into Walker Talks. Just a couple minutes left in the program. Dave Ramsey comes up 1 to 3. 3 to 6, Dan Reeves live in the studio with the Dan Reeves Show. I have Gina Langley and Larry Newman with him. Who knows who else? You're looking for community programming? Let us suggest News Talk West Tennessee. 2152 North Highland Avenue, right by Cambridge Men's Clothier. That's where we're located. We appreciate everybody that interacted on the show today. I know you've got a lot of choices out there. We appreciate you guys choosing us. Tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, coming in, we've got an interview with Tom Scuteri. It's Thursday. We're going to see what's going on. Took a lot of notes down today. Didn't get into them with Bob. Our conversation with Bob took us in a different direction. If you're not already paying attention to what's going on in the war in Ukraine, because you're kind of like, it's been a year now, that's in Ukraine. I've never been to Ukraine. I would have trouble finding it on a map. That's okay, I would too. Guys, you're watching history here. We're witnessing history. Depending on where you get your news and what you believe, we may already be involved in this war, more so than we know. Remember a couple of weeks ago when Tom was talking about that crazy country in Moldova, Tom said, hey, there's some thought out there that Russia is going to influence some civil unrest in Moldova, which, by the way, is a country they'd like to take back over as part of the original Soviet Union. Well, today, protest broke out the capital of Moldova. The people in the protest were supporters of Russia. They want to end ties. The protesters, they want to end ties with Moldova's government now, and their support of the Western war is how they term it. They're trying to overthrow the government in Moldova. As these other countries are touched and affected, more and more people, more and more countries are going to jump into this thing. This isn't going to be just Russia and Ukraine using NATO weapons. This is going to be other countries getting in this as well. And I don't know exactly what constitutes a world war. Is it 3 countries, 5 countries, 10 countries? I don't know. I don't know what constitutes that. But I know that we have really, really strong ties with NATO. I know that's probably a good thing, right? It's probably kept that area calm for a long time. All these countries being together and saying, look, you can't attack one of us without attacking all of us. We're all going to fight together. But we're isolating China. Maybe we should. Maybe we should have done it a long time ago. But we're isolating them. We're putting people into a country 12 days from now, according to multiple reports. 12 days from now, Iran is going to have nuclear weapons. In about 12 days, they're going to be able to make fissile material that will give them a nuclear bomb. Years ago, we had a nuclear treaty signed with Iran. They signed it, we signed it. It said they will no longer try to have nuclear weapons. After we signed the agreement, we decided to put more sanctions on Iran to the point to where they said, never mind, forget this agreement. You guys aren't holding up to your end of it. Maybe we should have done that. Maybe we should have sanctioned Iran more. I'm not saying we shouldn't have. I'm just saying that we had an agreement signed that they will no longer be in a pursuit of nuclear material. This fissile material that they need to make bombs, nuclear bombs. And now they're 12 days from it. Lots of things matter. Our choices and our decisions matter. You've got choices out there. We thank you again for choosing us. You've been listening to Walker Talks with Chuck Walker.
I stopped an old man along the way, hoping to find some old forgotten words or ancient melodies. He turned to me as if...
This is WBFG 96.